Back on today on a Tuesday edition, Bill Michaels Show. So glad you are with us today, and I've got some questions today. Yeah, I do. I got questions today. Brewers get a win last night, which was nice to see them rally and come back at the 4-3 win last evening over the Cardinals, which was, I mean, if you split today and then take another one in the series, you're really, really doing well. You're winning series. It's all you can do. Getting yourself towards the All-Star break where you're going to need a break. Hamilton left the game last night with a tight hamstring. 6.5 games up on the Cubs. You've now put 8.5 games between you and St. Louis. Cincinnati sitting back at 15 back. Their season is done when it comes to even thinking about winning the Central. And for the most part, their season is pretty much over anyway. There's no way they're going to climb out of that to get into the wild card race at 7 games back and climb, about 8 other teams? Not going to happen. Their season's pretty much done. And the Brewers were key and instrumental in putting a nail in their coffin. Back at it again today with a doubleheader. Today, you've got Mizorowski. The Miz goes early today. That's a 1:15 start time. And then after that, 6:45 tonight, the Brewers and the Cardinals go at it yet again and doubleheader at game 2. In the meantime, you got Cincinnati, who is hosting Philadelphia. The Cubs are on the road taking on the Orioles, and Pittsburgh is at home handling the Braves tonight as well. So the Brewers, good stuff. We got more discussion with more rankings and things like that coming out regarding NFL and quarterbacks and all that kind of good stuff. And last night, the United States, I did pay attention. I did. I tried to watch it. I really did. Until the guy from Portugal went down. They bring out medical teams. He gets up with a limp, and 2 minutes later, he's back on the field. He's fine. Or it was like 8 minutes. I think you got to leave the field for like 8 minutes or whatever it is. He was fine. No problem. But he was writhing around like it was the end of the world. And it's funny because I actually went to a networking event last night. I was down at Sobelman's. And the guy that's sitting next to me is a soccer fan. He was this dressed in U.S.A. garb, soccer guy. You know, he's got one of the soccer jerseys on. He's got a scarf, one of the club scarves and everything. And there were some other people that were there and some people that were, Viva la Mexico. And they were disappointed that Mexico got beat the other day, but they were down cheering for the USA. And look, I get it. And then this guy starts writhing around on the ground, and I'm just looking around, and even the guy next to me said, I can't stand this. I said, I'm with you. I'm out. Peace out. And I went home, and that was the end of my night. Came home, and I was going to try to watch the soccer game, but I sprained my wrist on my way to, pick up the remote control, and I writhed around on the ground in pain, and then the stretcher came out and took me upstairs, and then I used my other wrist, and I turned on Brewers baseball, and I felt more satisfied. So that was my night. Watched the Brewers game, just chilled. Tonight is another banner night. Got 2 Brewers games today, and then tonight, bike night at Wayne's Drive-In for our friends at Suburban Harley Davidson, which I'm excited about. You have that going on this evening. Going to be beautiful weather again tomorrow night, Wednesday Night Live. So feels like summer has finally arrived, and I'm ecstatic about it. So got all of that going on today, tonight, all that kind of good stuff. So there you have it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to track us down, please feel free. Go ahead and do it. We'd love to hear from you. Love to hear from you. I got people from all over that were emailing me and texting me about soccer as I was watching it. Even on my way home, I was talking to my buddy who's not a soccer fan, and he watched it for about 6 minutes, and he said, I don't even know if these guys know what they're doing. It looked that bad last night as Portugal got the 4-1 win. So disappointed. I wanted to see the United States win, but no, I didn't. I was watching Brewers baseball, man. I was a true blue Brew Crew through and through last night. 877-867-1670, 608-321-1670 on the text line. Go to YouTube. You can watch us there, youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show, youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. Find us on Twitter, on X, @Bill_Michaels, @Bill_Michaels. Find Grant at Wisco Grant. The Wisco Sports Zone app is fantastic. And you can download it and pay attention to us anywhere and everywhere. Both visually, you can watch us, or you can just listen to us. It carries both, as a matter of fact. Email the program, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. Thebillmichaels@gmail.com. The website simply thebillmichaels.com. Now, on the social media platforms, we are on Facebook and Instagram. You can watch us there, The Bill Michaels Show. And by the way, We added a couple of followers today, but the meter was moving like crazy this morning, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Somebody was just having fun, I guess, more so than anything. But it was going crazy here behind me on the desk. You can also find us under the same The Bill Michaels Show on TikTok. Same thing on the Twitch app, the Kick app, the LinkedIn app as well. And don't forget about our television show that's in Milwaukee, Saturday night, 8 o'clock Central Time. You can find Wisconsin Sports Weekly with Bill Michaels, Graham Bills alongside. 8 o'clock Central Time on My 24 TV. That is My 24 TV in Milwaukee. There you go. So, Grant, did you sit down and spend your evening participating in Soccer Mania?
I did until it was it either 3-1 or 4-1, and then I didn't completely turn it off, but then I started switching between the Brewers and the soccer. I was bought in. If it would have been close, I would have ignored the Brewer game until the end of the soccer game, but it just wasn't close enough, and the Brewers had guys on, and that game was close, so I switched over. At
least Christian Yelich last night got a walk.
He did.
Got a walk.
Yep.
In a key moment. But that first at bat was terrible. That was like, I think you and I could have done a lot better. Just flailing at the ball.
And I tweeted last night too, way too often with Yelich hitting leadoff when I'm watching. My thought is, okay, well, now that Yelich is struck out looking, we can actually begin the game. Like that's how it feels sometimes with him hitting leadoff, because he goes up there and just takes his hacks and it's like, all right, now with one out in the top of the first, now we can begin the game because we have the ceremonial Christian Yelich strikeout. Yeah, that's how I felt.
By the way, we all knew this, but Cristiano Ronaldo has announced that this year's it. He will not play in any more World Cups. So Portugal got beat yesterday, right? I believe so.
I don't know when they went out, but it's not like Ronaldo. I read a lot of criticism for Ronaldo because in some of these matches he was just invisible.
Yeah, he was not great at all. Anyway, he is done, and
they lost to Spain, and Spain's really good. But that was yesterday. That was yesterday.
Yeah, I saw that was on yesterday. So Portugal's down, and Belgium moves on after beating the United States. So, oh well, is what it is.
It was a fun run.
Let me ask you this: do we go back to normal now? Do we go back to normal as the soccer fever? Do we go back to normal now? Where I was asked this last night, like, "Wow, do you think this is going to be it?" I said, "You know what? This is every time we go through a World Cup and there's any kind of excitement, we are like, soccer is going to be the biggest." I'm telling you right now, I can look you in the eye and honestly say it will never in the United States ever beat football and baseball. It won't. I don't even think it'll beat the NBA. I would be shocked if it beats hockey. But when it comes to the overall ratings. But the World Cup is a different story. It always brings the national pride and national attention. And I don't disagree with that. Plus, it brings anybody, because we are a massive melting pot here, it brings other nationalities out to root for their teams. But it's not like all of a sudden we are these mass professional soccer club and soccer team fans. It doesn't happen. We go right back after this is over. We're going to go, that was great. And the cities came out and visitors loved our country. And, the perception versus the reality is this. And then we're going to go, okay, training camp's here. And we're going to forget about everything else in life because that's it. That's what's going to happen. So we're going to go back to watching the NFL and being wrapped up in October baseball and looking forward to basketball and collegiate hoops and college football. And that's where our world will be consumed. What this has given us this year is a distraction from what otherwise would be mass boredom.
Yeah, it's an event, just like the Olympics.
Exactly. Exactly.
Doesn't mean it needs to turn into something. It was the same with international hockey, with the four nations, and then with Team USA in this last Olympics. It's like, this is going to start a big hockey craze. I don't mean to be a rain cloud guy, but probably not. No, it's just a very special event where we all buy in because we love sports, we love our country, and we get into hockey for a couple of weeks. That doesn't mean we're going to sit down and watch the Minnesota Wild 3 times a week as a country. Right. It's the same with soccer. That doesn't mean that it's for nothing. That doesn't mean that the last couple of weeks were a waste. It was a great event that we all got into.
Absolutely.
Like Like, think of a holiday like the 4th of July or Christmas. Like, are we going to give gifts or shoot fireworks year round? No, but that's, what we do in the moment. And let's be real, life is just a series of distractions until we ultimately die anyways. So, that's kind of really how life works,
You just come out with a nut kick right away. There you go. Hey, we're just around till we croak.
Well, what does anything mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, well, what did the World Cup, what does anything mean? We're just enjoying things and doing things together until we're not around anymore. That's how life works.
There you go.
Deep thought. Sorry.
Hey, I get it. It's a very, again, I do not disparage anybody that watches it and got into it. I'm, have a good time. But the lasting impact, it just ticks the meter. It doesn't move it. It doesn't like sway it now, and that pendulum goes dramatically in that direction from here on out. It just doesn't.
Yeah, and I wish that it meant something more for the United States soccer program, where it's like they took a nice step, and this should be but really it's it's kind of the same team they've been.
Right.
They might have had a slightly better tournament this year. Maybe they win one more game. They also expanded the tournament, so. I think for many World Cups now for the last 20, 30 years, it's like, and this is a good jumping off point. The game's in a good spot. It feels like this is kind of the same place we've been for forever. I don't know that'll make a difference.
Yeah, it's gotten good ratings. There's been a lot of big watch parties. It's brought people together. There's a lot of positive about it, 100%. And that's it. But I don't think beyond that, there is, like I said, it's going to tick the meter, but it won't swing that pendulum massively in that direction. So anyway, but Brewers get a win last night, which was awesome. If they can get a couple of them today, it'd be even better. But I'm telling you, man, I don't think there's anybody on that Brewers team right now that needs a break more than Christian Yelich. He's just... He's bad looking. Grant, I thought about it yesterday. I thought, well, if they're not telling us that he's got some kind of an injury, then that's kind of shame on them, because he's got to have something. There's got to be something wrong with him. You don't just fall off the table the way he has. You don't start off pretty hot, looking good. You get a couple of big hits early on in the season, and then all of a sudden you just dramatically fall away in a month where it's not even, it's terrible. It's just not even right to watch him up there constantly swinging, or lack thereof. Like, he's just getting completely fooled on pitches. And this is a guy that he's a veteran, and he's not getting the knocks he should. The outfielder Luis Lara has been called up from AAA Nashville. Blake Perkins optioned to Nashville, and the lefty Robert Gasser has been designated the 27th man for the doubleheader in today's news and notes, by the way, by the Brewers.
And we might get more today if David Hamilton's going to go on the IL.
Right.
That could mean Jet Williams is brought up, to be another infielder alongside Cooper Pratt and Joey Ortiz. So there's a lot of Brewers things to watch today. 2 games. By the way, just a programming note, because this happened right before the beginning of the show. Chuck is going to join us in the first hour for 2 segments starting next after this break. So this is something that you can talk about with Chuck. I just wanted to make sure that you know, because I don't want to keep Chuck waiting too.
No. I completely get it. I'm trying to see here. Because the Brewers, like I'd mentioned right now, 56-33 on the season. And there was another note that I was looking at. And what the hell did I... Oh, by the way, the Brewers do not fare well when they play the Cardinals in doubleheaders. Just an FYI.
You have these historical notes?
They either have lost both or have split at best. They have never swept the Cardinals in a doubleheader. So, never happened. Going all the way back to 2020, the Brewers playing the Cardinals in a doubleheader for the 6th time in franchise history. The team went 0-1-4 in their previous Twin Bills. So
last night felt like a significant game to steal. They didn't play that well, and to steal that one at the end. So they are already ahead of the curve going into the doubleheader, and they really didn't have to use their bullpen. They used Chad Patrick and McGill. So Ashby, Uribe, a lot of these other guys, they should be pretty well positioned going into today, especially with Miz starting game 1. So hopefully last night puts them in a good position for the rest of the series.
Yeah, the Brewers have either split them or lost both of them. And the last time they lost in July 28th of 2007 at Busch Stadium, they lost both.
Back to 2017, they split. At AmFam Field, they've split. And then at Busch Stadium, as recently as 2020, they split. By the way, they played 3 doubleheaders against the Cardinals in 2020. That's almost amazing.
I think they had one of those early season series was postponed because somebody got COVID.
Yeah,
if I remember correctly.
Right.
That was in the first month.
That's right. It was the COVID year because they played 2 of them at AmFam where they split, and then the other one at AmFam they split, and then at Busch Stadium and they split, but all in September of 2020. All of the doubleheaders. So they've never swept the Cardinals. Put it that way. If they do it today, it'll be the first time ever. All right, let's do this. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll talk more about the moves that the Brewers have made. Hamilton got possibly going down. We'll have to wait and see with this injury. Hopefully, knock on wood, it's just stiffness or tightness, and he's back at it again today, or at least taking one day off. But nevertheless, got that. You've got, obviously, Brandon Woodruff to talk about. Perkins being optioned out today. Luis Parra, it's his time now. He comes up from AAA Nashville. We got a lot going on. Stay tuned. We got a whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Woodruff had 2 solid starts prior to this since coming off the injured list. And tonight gave up the 3-run home run in the first inning, but the velo started to drop, and the trainer came out and got him in the 4th inning and finished off Woodruff's night. Boy, you could have such an awesome front 3 in this rotation with Mizorowski, Harrison, and Woodruff. if Woodruff, it's been a tough 2 years. And yeah, that $22 million that they spent on him for this year, it's looking like a bad signing. Not any fault of any of him at all. You just can't stay healthy.
It's not his fault. It's just body with that shoulder issue flares up. And unfortunately, Woodruff now is going to have to take some time, let the inflammation go down, and then you kind of wait and see what happens after that. Hamilton last night with some stiffness in the hamstring area, so he ends up, leaving the ball game, which you kind of thought to yourself, oh my God, you can't have this stuff continually roll downhill. In the meantime, today, at least you don't see Hamilton on the injury report, like going to the IL. Luis Lara recalled from AAA Nashville. Blake Perkins optioned to Nashville, and the lefty Robert Gasser, he is now designated as the 27th man for the doubleheader today. So that's the way things stand right now for the Milwaukee Brewers. Joining us on our hotline, the voice that you just heard, our guy Chuck Freimund from the Locked On Brewers podcast, joining us. Chucker, how you doing, pal?
Oh, Michaels, man, what a lot of news already this morning with the Milwaukee Brewers. I'll tell you what, when I did my podcast in the middle of the night last night, and there was talk about maybe Hamilton going on the injured list and who would replace him. It's like I did not think that this would be the call-up. I thought maybe a pitcher. Certainly, Jet Williams might have played into that,
right.
One of their top prospects in the infield. Didn't see them calling up Luis Lara in an already crowded outfield spot for the Brewers.
Mm-hmm. Well, sending Blake Perkins out, you kind of understand that. The good news is that they did not, at least as of right now, as far as I know, Hamilton was not put on the IL. Maybe he was just sore or tight, and they just figured, okay, look, he'll be fine. It was just, no big deal. Stretch him out a little bit, he'll be fine. So at least that's good news that he didn't go down with an injury, and he's going to be out for an extended period of time.
Yeah, that is. But usually when you have some sort of hamstring injury like that you're going to go, and that was the indication that they were going to send him down and then bring somebody else up. But sounds like he's staying, and Perkins, who's just not been hitting, a favorite of Pat Murphy, but just not hitting, and now they bring up Lara, and Hamilton will continue to obviously if. I don't think he's probably playing today, but probably going to be on this roster going forward. And he's been productive. He had the 2-run double last night, but we'll see how that continues to go. I'm not completely sold that he's not going on the injury list just yet, but as for right now, he's not on the list.
So the whole thing with Woodruff, first of all, it's tough. I know people are just disgusted, and I listen to the over-the-top dramatic stuff that fans say. But look, when he's good and he's healthy, he's good. He's a good veteran pitcher, and you don't just throw the baby out with the bathwater at this point. You kind of you send him down and you say, just take as long as you need to get ready, and then maybe get him back mid-September, a couple of starts, and then he can maybe work his way into the rotation come the postseason if indeed you need him or want to work him in that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that was the plan, Bill. In fact, I think from the very beginning, the plan was make sure he's healthy in September and October. Not that you were taking winning a division title already or going to the playoffs for granted, but you wanted him to be healthy, which he wasn't last year for the final couple of weeks of September and into the postseason. But you wanted him when he got stuck, and they got stuck with the $22 million. That's what it was. They got stuck with the $22 million on the option on that, and that he picked up, and that was offered to him. And you're hoping that's going to be the case. He's probably going to have to go through some of the same stuff he did for the last couple of months. We're going to have to rehab, make some minor league starts. I know he doesn't like doing it and all that, but this is where he is. Sadly for Woodruff, I think any thought of him getting a multi-year contract from anybody, this was kind of this was going to be his year, Bill, that he thought he was going to establish himself once again as a frontline starter. Now the numbers are still good; he's pitching well. He just can't stay healthy. And the old saying is that they say Green Bay, you can't make the club if you're in the tub.
Right. Yeah, he is just a liability. He is going to be in and out of, I think, anybody's rotation at this point. So it's not going, like you said, they're not going to land him big money for a long-term deal. But it's going to keep him a job, because when he is good, he's good and his numbers are good. And that's the reason I'm not willing to just kind of toss him to the side, because if you get to the postseason, and even if he gives you 6 or 7 starts in the postseason that are quality starts, he's as good as anybody, because the guy, even when he was throwing 75 miles an hour, he was still getting guys out. He still knows how to pitch.
Yeah. Yeah. His ERA is under 3 in his starts that he's made this year. And he's had 2 trips to the injured list. The velo is dropping, and you can't be throwing a guy an 85 a major league hitter, no matter how good your location is, 85 miles an hour. You're going to get crushed. So, but yeah, I still have faith. He's probably still going to be up. Hopefully, be a part of this rotation. People have asked if he's going to be out of the bullpen. I don't see him. The Brewers using him out of the bullpen. I could see a situation where they would use him if he, again, he's got to go through, he's got to make his comeback again. He's got to get healthy again. That's number one. But when he does come back, if he does come back, maybe using an opener for him and then pitching him toward the middle innings, one of those kind of things.
Would you see them saying, hey, look, we are going to send you down and you're just going to stay on an innings count, so to speak, down in Nashville until we're ready to bring you up?
Well, I think that's obviously these guys at this stage of their life, and he's in his 30s, he doesn't want to go to Nashville. Obviously, they would go into playing for the Timber Rattlers and all that. They don't want to play in the minors. They'd rather just come up here and pitch some batting practice and live hitting and all that and get through it that way. Fortunately, that's not the way it works. He's going to probably have to need some of those. And I think as soon as he's ready, Bill, the Brewers are going to call him up, because they still look at, as we've been talking here, he's still productive. But they're letting him, as they always have here in the last several months and year, let him go on his pace. They're not rushing him. They're not hurrying up the process. They might have done that with Devin Williams a couple of years ago when he got ticked off at the organization and he had kind of a chip on his shoulder. They're not doing that with Woodruff.
Yeah. I guess my next question is, do they know it's just inflammation? It's not like there's bodies floating around in there and he's going to need surgery or anything like this. This is just inflammation that's irritated from the surgery that he had originally when he tore the shoulder, right?
It just keeps popping up. And Murphy was talking the other day, Bill, that the doctors have said, it's going to probably reoccur again and maybe again. And he's throwing the ball on, he's throwing the ball in the low 90s, but was close to in the upper 90s at one point. And it probably irritates. I'm no doctor, no shoulder doctor, but probably just irritates the shoulder and arm. And after a while of pitching, then you got to go. It's probably going to be things if he is going to have a rest of his career. And the Brewers, obviously on the hook for the $22 million, they're going to manage it as best as they can. Now, they made a major mistake. The Brewers front office has done a lot of moves. And I talked about this in my podcast the other day. Brewers front office has been fantastic. They're in the position they're in because the Brewers front office. This was a misstep right here. This was a stutter step.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have offered him that qualifying offer. They were hoping he was going to turn it down and get a multi-year deal. Nobody on the market wanted to give him a multi-year deal. They got stuck with a 1-year, $22 million deal for a guy coming off shoulder surgery and didn't finish the year by being on the injured list.
Well, like I said, when he's good, he's good. And you can certainly appreciate where he's at. Let's do this. We'll move on to other things when we come back. Chuck Freimund hanging out with us from the Locked On Brewers podcast. Stay right where you're at. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. I know a lot of disappointed people last night out and about watching and hoping that the United States would win. Did not happen. But they had a big crowd out at the Social House last night on West Lisbon Road, Menominee Falls. A massive crowd in the parking lot last night on the big screen TV that they had posted out there. But it was a hell of a crowd, and they've renovated the place. It continues to get bigger and better. Check it out. Stop in and check it out. Brewers baseball. They still have the outside screens on the outside portion of the bar as well. Outside screens at the Social House. Inside screens keeping you nice and dry and cool also as well. West Lisbon Road, Menominee Falls. Don't forget about High Water Pub and Grill. That's on Venice Beach Road in Oconomowoc, right there in Upper Nebobbin Lake. And they have all that outdoor seating now out there right on the peninsula, right up against the lakeshore. Really, really nice stuff. Both places fantastic. Social House on West Lisbon Road, Menominee Falls, Brookfield. We'll be right back. Ready?
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
If I was to tell you that the top of the order, the first four in the order were to have one hit, some of them were going to bat 5 times, but the top of the order was going to have one hit. I was to tell you we're going to make 3 defensive miscues. And I was also to tell you that they walked as much as we walked. Who would you take? Yeah. And so it's a testament to the guys in the bottom. Self Willick had a couple tough ABs and comes through with a huge double. And then Hammy with the big double. Yeah. And Terang with the big hit, 2 outs. Yeah, that's how you win a 1-run ball game.
They keep scrapping. That's what they do. The Milwaukee Brewers get themselves a win last night. Doubleheader coming up today. The Miz on the mound this afternoon. And if you're smoking a celebratory cigar from last night, you probably got it from the Nice Ash, or at least I know I did. Sitting out back last night for a little while and just relaxing. Warm weather. Good skies last night. Had the tube on. Nice Ash, the Nice Ash. Last night they had the poker. Today is Vinyl Tuesday. So don't forget, if you got an album going through the Wayback Machine, stop in and you can just put the album. They put the old turntable, the record player, out on the bar today, all day long, all leading up through out this evening. Just bring an album in and you can just play it. Just let the album play. So that's the Nice Ash Cigar Bar. Then on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, live music down there every Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, whether it's the Walk-In Humidor, 13 different flavors of hookahs, or just the fine bourbons and whiskeys, or just a good place to go chill and watch a game. That's theniceash.com. Theniceash.com, 323 West Main Street, downtown Waukesha. Joining us on the hotline, our guy Chuck Freimund from the Locked On Brewers podcast back here. So Woodruff down and Hamilton, we're waiting to find out the severity of the hammy sprain. But that being said, what are you going to do with Christian Yelich, Chuck? He is as bad gets right now. Holy mackerel. I haven't seen him be this bad.
Bill, that might be one of the reasons why they brought up Lara. Now, Yelich isn't playing the outfield anymore. He's DHing. But his batting average has dipped some 40 points since the beginning of June. Mm-hmm. It just plummets and plummets and plummets. And you can't count on him to get to do anything.
Right.
The bat looks slow. He's the everyday DH, but I sense this in the Cubs series, right after the Cubs series, or right during the Cubs series. He did not make a couple of starts against left-handed pitching. And I bookmarked that. And I said that on my show. I said, it's odd that Yelich is not starting against left-handers. Usually one of your top players, no matter who's pitching, lefty-righty, that guy's in the lineup.
Right.
But he has not started the last 2 times they faced the lefties. And I don't know, maybe we're going to see more of that coming up, of him being a platoon player. The bat looks slow. I just feel like the confidence level you have in this guy right now is just low. He's coming off hitting 29 home runs last year. He's got 5 or 6 this year. The power numbers aren't just there. And I think back early in the season, Bill, you remember against the White Sox, that 3rd game of the season,
right?
He hit that 3-run pinch at home on the upper deck to right field. Well, that's been it.
Right. That's what I'm saying. There's nothing there, man. There's nothing to grab onto. It's not even the power numbers aren't even there.
No. I mean, you hit 29 last year, and you're not getting any of that. But they need that. They need some thump in this lineup, and they need that, and they're winning without it. But man, I mean, you look at this roster, Bill. They got 2 guys who are making over $20 million: Brandon Woodruff and Yelich. 2 guys making north of 20, and they're not getting anything from either guy.
Right. It's amazing. The Woodruff thing I get. The Yelich thing, I keep waiting. Grant said yesterday maybe he's got some kind of an injury we don't know about. But if he does, and they haven't set him to the side to say, hey, go get better, then shame on them. But I've never seen anybody just fall off the table like this, where they just are nothing. He's not even a guy you even fear anymore in the lineup. You know what I mean? He hit a couple of balls on the nose last night, and they always say, well, when you start hitting the ball on the nose, it just happens to be right at somebody. Eventually, those are going to start falling. So I'm kind of, knock on wood, hoping for that. But he's just when he strikes out, he looks lost. Like he's just either guessing or just flailing at the pitch.
taking called third strikes.
Yeah.
When he's pulling the ball, I always look for if a hitter has got if his bat has not slowed down. Well, he's hitting the ball. A lefty with the ball to right field, a righty with the ball to left field. They'll pull the ball. And late in Robin Yount's career, if I can go way back there, I noticed that with Robin, you could just tell that as he was in his 30s, more and more times he was going opposite field. He was not. It was his 3,000th hit was in the right field, but there was a lot of that. He was not pulling the ball. He was not hitting home runs. He was not pulling the ball to left field. And I'm kind of sensing that with Christian Yelich right now. And he's just not pulling the ball. The bat looks a little slow through the hitting zone.
A couple of the bright spots is Jake Bauers is still getting the job done. Sal Frelick is still getting the job done. You know, I mean, I got to give credit to Joey Ortiz. He's actually, brought his average up a little bit throughout the end of the month of June, coming into July. He's been better, and the glove is still fantastic. Cooper Pratt is another story because he was hot when he came up, and since then, there hasn't been much to cheer about when it comes to Cooper Pratt, has there?
No, but he's here to stay unless he completely falls flat, Bill. The Brewers, when they bring up their top prospects, they're not bringing them up to platoon. They're not bringing them up to sit on the bench, or they do not want to send them back down unless they absolutely have to. They sent Bryce down a couple of years ago, but they want them to play every day. And just like calling up Lara, it's just a mystery to me because it's like, well, there are guys up to play every day. Where is he going to play? And from all indications, Laura has just got to St. Louis. He's in the dugout and he's in the stadium today. But the Brewers have several guys who are producing right now. They're producing. They're still not, Bill, hitting with runners in scoring position. That was a struggle. It's the last two nights they've won these games. They've struggled through 6 innings, and then in the 7th inning have turned games around. They were down 1-0 on Sunday, and then last night they were down 3-0 to St. Louis, and it looked like they were on their way to a loss. And then they turned that game around quickly on a couple of RBI base hits, including the one by Bryce trying to put them ahead.
Churio obviously is having a good, solid season. He's been tremendous since he came back, and 13 dingers already, and he's still hitting the hell out of the ball. Terang has been steady. He kind of took a dive for a while, but he's been pretty much steady. Contreras obviously is still well. Even Garrett Mitchell, who very quietly just struggled, and people were looking at him going, oh, God, are we really going to have to put up with this all season? He got his average back up to 269. He's actually played pretty well. So it's like they are getting some production. It just isn't consistent.
Yeah, Mitchell has been phenomenal here in the last week.
Yeah, he's like over the last over the last month or something like that. He's like 330, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, just unbelievable. He had 4 hits last week. Really being a productive member of this team. Again, that's why I'm wondering where is Luis Laura going to play, because the outfielders are hit right now. Not replacing Churio, not replacing Mitchell, not replacing Frelick. Where's he going to go? But you know what's odd? The Brewers have the second best record in Major League Baseball, but they will have one position player as of right now at the All-Star game, and that's William Contreras. One position player. Isn't that bizarre?
I know, right?
Normally, you would think a team that's got 23 games over the 500 mark, 56-33, they'd have 3 or 4 guys there.
Right.
But they have one guy going, and that's it. You can make it a strong argument for Terang, but one guy going to the All-Star game is a position player.
It's amazing because they, out of 30 major league teams, I still think they need a big bat, but out of 30 major league teams, they right now are 28th in all of Major League Baseball when it comes to hitting home runs. 28th. And it's not even by a little, it's by a lot. They're 28th. I mean, it's amazing they are where they are without having really any kind of a consistent power hitter on this team.
And one of the reasons why they're so low, Bill, is because of what we talked about with Christian Yelich. He's just not putting up power numbers. And can you win this way? I thought last year, Bill, when the Brewers didn't have the punch in their lineup, I thought, they're winning all these games. They won 97 games. They can get there. It's just tougher from point A to point B when you need 3 singles to score a run, or 2 singles. You have to have that 3-run blast once in a while. Last week they won a game, Bill, by scoring with 6 singles in the third or fourth inning to produce 4 runs. 6 singles, including 5 in a row. Just little bleeders and all that. It's like, it's just the way they win games. Unfortunately, it's not been a recipe to win that when you need it most, and that's in the championship round in the postseason in the NLCS. And they've lost a few wild cards along the way. But I agree with you. People talk about this team needs pitching. They need to go out and get their screwball. I still say third base, they need a guy at third base who can hit some home runs.
Yeah, it's so odd because they're 28th in homers and they're like 14th in OPS, but they're 6th best in batting average and they're 4th best in on-base percentage. So I mean, they're taking their walks and they're getting on base, and when they do, they put pressure on defenses, and defenses make errors, and that's what they do. That's how they kind of nickel and dime you to death. The problem is, we know when you get to the postseason, that doesn't always work. You got to have somebody in that lineup that they fear, and I agree with you. I mean, to me, before the whole thing with Woodruff, I thought, okay, for sure, you got to look for a bat. I was thinking a bat because Woodruff was pitching well, and then now it's kind of like, well, now you may have to go find an arm to get you through. And I don't know if they're going to go find both an arm and a bat. You know what I mean?
Well, I think you need in the postseason, and I'm not assuming they're going to win the division, but I mean, we like to think that they're 23 over that. Unless they fall apart, they're going to the postseason, right? So you get to the postseason, I think you need 3 really strong arms. You got Mizorowski, you got everybody staying healthy. You got Mizorowski, you got Harrison. You had Henderson coming off the injured list. I would, with Woodruff healthy, you had a big 3 there, and Henderson being the 4th guy. Do you get another starter to replace Shane Drone, who's pitched well in his last 2 starts? Sproat, who has not been good and was not good in his last start. If you're going to get pitching, you better get somebody who's better than what you got, because I think the starting pitching is pretty darn good, even without Woodruff. I just feel like it is. And when they get to the postseason, Bill, the Brewers have this way of just mixing and matching pitching. They'll start McGill in a game. They'll start Ashby in a game, and they'll be so creative with who pitches in their games. Because they don't have a solid 4 guys, but I think you have a solid 3, you'll be good. The pitching wasn't the problem against the Dodgers last year. Right. They couldn't score any runs.
Yep, I completely agree. They went completely silent. And again, even with Yelich hitting 29 bombs last year, he was non-existent in the postseason. And there was nobody in that lineup that you really feared. I mean, I think the only guy right now that you fear would be Vaughn, but he's not putting up power numbers. You know what I mean? So it's not like you fear him. I mean, and Churio to a certain extent.
Churio, Terang. Terang's got a little bit of a pop, but you want to be able to have a guy in the middle of that lineup. Unfortunately, that's just not been the case the last couple of years. When they picked up Reese Hoskins a couple of years ago, they thought he was going to give him that bump. He just couldn't stay healthy and wasn't all that good when he was here. Bowers is hitting, he's got 16 homers, I believe it is. Hit one the other night. He's got some thump. He's having a career year. But I don't know. I just don't see the Brewers going out and trading one of their top prospects to get guys like that. Instead of bringing their top prospects up, they brought Pratt up and now Luis Lara. They're doing what the Brewers do. Develop players, win while they're developing players, and that's a great situation to be in.
Which is great, but I think you just need that veteran bat that can come in that, now again, Freddie Freemans aren't sitting out there. You know what I mean? Those guys that can play the corners aren't just sitting there going, hey, I need a job. So that's the unfortunate thing about it. Chuck, where can they find you, my friend?
Bill, as always, Google, Spotify, Apple, wherever you download audio podcasts. We're the #1 Brewers podcast on the internet because the great Brewer fans out there. It's one of the fastest growing Locked On podcasts in the country on all the entire Locked On network. And that's because of the great Brewers fans and all that. And so you get us on the audio platforms and, of course, our growing YouTube page. Search Locked On Brewers on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. All the content is always free. And of course, if you subscribe to the YouTube page, you also get the 60-second instant reactions, the rapid reactions right after the game that I always do. As always, the content is free. And Bill, great to join you with 2 segments today, my friend.
I know.
It's been an honor.
Blew it up. Then we'll have to do like an all-star special at some point, too. Chuck, always good to talk to you, pal. We'll talk to you next week.
You bet it.
Thanks, bud. Talk to you soon. There you go. Chuck Freimund from the Locked On Brewers podcast joining us for a couple of minutes. Well, let's do this. We'll step out. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We got obviously a lot more to get to. They have more racing going on. It is, by the way, we're right around the corner. They had Trans Am, then the Vintage Weekend with Brian Redmond, right around the corner from IMSA, which is coming here at the end of the month. Oh, my goodness. They got IMSA going on. They've got the EDM concerts. They've got a whole wild weekend festival of racing that's going to take place at that place called Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. If you have not gotten your tickets yet, get your tickets to IMSA. They say, look, race fans come to IndyCar, okay? But the racers, the partiers, the fun, the people that just you want to look at and gawk at and have fun with, and oh yeah, it's IMSA. IMSA weekend is right around the corner. Get your tickets now. Season pass is available, obviously, at a discounted price. But corporate sponsorships, on-site camping is what it's about. There you go. Find your on-site space and get yourself around that place because IMSA weekend is a wild weekend at Road America. For all the information, go to roadamerica.com or call them direct 800-365-7223, 800-365-7223. IMSA is a coming. Go to roadamerica.com. That is Road America, your national park of speed.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Bill Michaels Show. Enjoying today. Beautiful day out. Good to talk to Chuck Freimund for a couple of segments of Brewers baseball. In case you're just tuning us in, the outfielder Luis Lara has been called up from AAA. Sent down was Blake Perkins. And for the 27th man on the roster today for the doubleheader is the lefty Robert Gasser, who is there because they may burn up that pitching staff today. So we'll have to wait and see. But nevertheless, the Brewers with a doubleheader today. Lara looking to become the 7th Brewers player to make his major league debut this season. In case you didn't know, the 7th. Caro, Drohan, Coleman Crowe, Brian Fitzpatrick, Cooper Pratt, and Garrett Stallings have all been up this year as well. He's the 48th player to appear on the active roster this season, and the team has had 58 players so far. 58 appear on the active roster this season. So the Brewers, they've got a system where they're just like, we got a whole lot of frequent flyer miles to Nashville. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And that's the way they get it done. So Brewers go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I wonder what possessed them to do this today, because when we saw the news that Luis Lara was getting called up, I assumed that Frelick was hurt or maybe Yelich was hurt. But even if Yelich is hurt, that doesn't really open up playing time in the outfield because he's been DHing so much.
Right.
They could have called Luis Lara up for Blake Perkins a month or two ago,
right,
if they wanted. And I always assumed it was because, well, when we call him up, we want him to play every day. And putting him in Blake Perkins' spot won't do that. So maybe they just think Luis Lara is ready and they want to bring him up because he's good, even if he doesn't play a whole lot. I wonder if there's another move coming today, or I wonder if something's going to happen, because they could have done this a month ago.
Right.
And they haven't until now. So I guess I'm just kind of wondering why. Maybe today they want another guy that's not Blake Perkins for the doubleheader.
Yep.
I guess maybe that's part of it. It's odd to me. That's all.
No, I get it. But like Chuck said, do you think that they would have him hit in place of Yelich?
Well, his key is Luis Lara is like one of the best center field prospects in all of baseball,
right?
Defensively, defense is his calling card.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, what? I mean, is he better with the bat and better defensively than Blake Perkins? Because that's what they bring Perkins in for is basically defense. So if he's better with the bat, then you're just basically upgrading your bat situation. But do you dare say, hey, we're going to mix and match that outfield prowess because Christian Yelich just isn't getting the job?
So I get that. My only question is you're upgrading the last guy on your roster who hasn't been playing a whole lot. Right. So is Luis Lara just going to sit there, or is something going to change because he's now in that spot and Blake Perkins is?
I don't think they bring these guys up to sit, man.
That's what I really
exactly
don't. We're on the same page.
I really don't. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do today and how much he actually gets some playing time. There you have it. All right, let's do this. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We're going to come back. We got 1 hour down that fast. We got 3 more yet to go. Don't go anywhere. More of the Bill Michaels Show is next.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Brewers opened up their series in St. Louis last night with a 4-3 win as David Hamilton and Bryce Terang drove in 2 runs each during a 4-run 7th inning, rallying from 3 down. Starting pitcher Shane Johan would pick up the win. He went 6 innings, giving up 6 hits, 1 earned run while striking out 2. Then Chad Patrick struck out 2 in 2 perfect innings, while Trevor McGill gave up a leadoff single before finishing off his 14th save in 16 opportunities. Here's more from manager Pat Murphy on the win.
If I was to tell you that the top of the order, the first 4 in the order, were to have 1 hit, some of them were going to bat 5 times, but the top of the order was going to have 1 hit. I was to tell you we're going to make 3 defensive miscues. And I was also to tell you that they walked as much as we walked. Who would you take? You know? And so it's a testament to the guys in the bottom. Frelick had a couple tough ABs and comes through with a huge double. And then Hammy with the big double. And Terang with the big hit. 2 outs. That's how you win a 1-run ball game.
It'll be Brewers and Cardinals again today at Busch Stadium. First pitch coming at 1:15.
For nearly 40 years, ABC Wisconsin Apprenticeship has been helping men and women transform themselves into highly skilled trade professionals. These skills are in demand and provide strong wages and benefits for a bright future. If you're a hands-on person who likes the feeling when you get projects done, apprenticeship could be for you. Go to buildyourcareerwi.org or just search online for ABC of Wisconsin.
The University of Wisconsin and Interim Chancellor Eric Wilcox will formally announce the new Director of Athletics, Sean Eichhorst, with a pair of events today. And the Bucks fell to the Sacramento Kings in Summer League action last night, 95-89. They'll be back in action against the Heat on Friday. For the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network, I'm Ebo.
Yes! Welcome in! Now Wayne looking today. Bill Michaels Show. Tuesday edition. Brewers going to win. Team USA takes a loss. More things to discuss regarding quarterbacks and rankings and such. All of that upcoming today. Welcome in to all of you now on the network, all throughout the great state of Wisconsin. And got to say hi to everybody over there in the live stream, too. The Cheap Seaters, yeah. Welcome in to everybody. Didn't get a chance to really say hello to all of you earlier today, but appreciate you being here and everybody over there on the live stream. That's how we welcome you in each and every day. And I want to say, if you want to give us a buzz, you can. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You can text us, 608-321-1670. Find us on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. Over on Twitter, on X, at Bill_Michaels. You can find Grant at Wisco Grant, our app, which is a great way to take us anywhere and everywhere. That is Wisco Sports Zone. Wisco Sports Zone. You can email the program, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. thebillmichaels@gmail.com. The website, simply thebillmichaels.com. On Facebook and Instagram, it's another great place to watch the show if you want to do so and chime in. You can find us over there at Facebook and Instagram, The Bill Michaels Show. Make the meter behind me move. We're on TikTok, too. Same thing. Same thing on the Twitch app, Kick app, and LinkedIn app as well. And you can catch our television show every Saturday night, 8 o'clock Central Time. That is on My 24 TV in Milwaukee, My 24 TV in Milwaukee. And there you have it. That's a way to kind of track us down. And the meter has gone up another notch as I was sitting there talking. So there you go. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Give us a shout. Brewers get the win, and there's been some moves today. In case you did not know, the outfielder Luis Lara has been recalled from AAA, so it's Lara time. Blake Perkins is the guy that goes down, and Robert Gasser today on the 27th. He's the 27th man for the doubleheader today, but no word on Hamilton after leaving the game last night. Now, again, he didn't hurt his hamstring. It was just tight. So they pulled him out of the game because they said he was just tightening up. So the good news is there was no move today regarding the IL for Hamilton. So, and by the way, did you see the catch he had? They highlighted that on SportsCenter today, and probably last night as well. I didn't catch it last night, though. But that little pop that he caught just about at home plate, which was just outside of the dirt from home plate last night when he came flying in and ended up catching the ball. He almost overran it. He caught it in his chest. It hit off his chest and it bounced into his glove. That's how fast he was coming last night. That guy can move, but he ends up catching that, little pop, and, which was a nice play at the time. So anyway, that being said, the Brewers, by the way, in St. Louis, which has not been kind to them, they're 107 and 123 all time. And they're even under 500 at the new Busch Stadium, 84 and 88. So just an FYI, wanted to throw it out there. Figured I'd let you know.
I feel much better about the rest of the series after they didn't lose last night, 2-0 or 3-1, which is kind of where it felt like it was trending.
Right. I completely agree. So that being said, what else do we have? God, I got all kinds of different stuff today. This is from Mark, who says, at what point do you send Christian Yelich down? Well, first of all, Mark, you can't. Christian Yelich doesn't have any options. You don't send him down. The only way he would take any time is if he had some type of an injury. And they said, hey, whatever's nagging you, it's obviously causing you problems. So we'll put you on the IL for, 15 days or whatever, and then you can maybe go away and try to figure things out. But that's only if he's got some type of an injury. But they will not just sent. He doesn't have any options. You can't be sent down. So Christian Yelich doesn't have any. Contreras doesn't have any. Bowers doesn't have any. There's a couple other guys. Sanchez, Andrew Vaughn doesn't have any. Not that you would send them down, but there's a few guys that just don't have any options left in their contract to where they can be sent down for any period of time. So that's the only way you get Christian Yelich really out of the lineup, short of just sitting him. And even then, you know, I don't want to say that they're Major League Baseball players. It's their job. And if you're not performing, it's a results-oriented business. I get that. They give you all these opportunities, and you're winning while you're struggling. So that's the best part about it. If they were losing games and you needed to put guys in a lineup that were consistently hitting, then you would say, look, you're not even helping us at this point. We've got to make a move. You know, we've got to sit you for a while or whatever. But right now you're winning. You don't have to do that. You get the second best record in all of baseball. So it's not forcing your hand to do something right now. And that's the best part about it. So even while all the struggling is going on, you're still winning ball games. But yeah, when you go and look at those numbers, and we were talking about this earlier in the first hour of the show, I mean, the Brewers are 11th overall in OPS. 11th. They are 28th in home run production. 28th. So that's the reason it drags the OPS number down, because you're not powering the ball out of the ballpark. But they are sixth best in batting average. Sixth best. And their on-base percentage is fourth best in all of baseball. So, when it comes to seeing the ball, they have got the third most walks taken in all of Major League Baseball. That's the hidden number. That this team, not only do they not power the ball to the ballpark, but then how do they manufacture runs? How do they score? And that's how. They get on base, because they take walks. They have the fifth highest run. Think about this. They're the 28th out of 30 Major League Baseball teams, out of 30. 28th in Major League Baseball when it comes to home runs. But they have the fifth most runs in all of Major League Baseball. The fifth most. That doesn't equate. It's crazy. When you look at the Brewers, now think about this. The Brewers have scored 2 less total runs than the Cubs. 2 less. The Pirates have more runs, the Dodgers have more runs, and the Nationals have more runs, okay? The Nationals have hit 128 home runs. The Dodgers, 123. The Pirates, 114. The Cubs, 112. The Brewers, 83. But yet they only have 2 less runs than the Cubs. Think about that for a minute. 112 home runs, 83. But they only have 2 more runs than the Cubs. That's why they're so good, because their on-base percentage is so high. They get on base taking the walk, and they nickel and dime you, and they steal bases, and they put pressure on defenses, and defenses create errors, and that's the reason they are who they are. That's the reason we're looking at the wins and losses right now that the Brewers have as the second best record in baseball. The only problem is there's nobody in this lineup really that you fear. We talked a little bit about it, like Bowers with the home run numbers and Churio. Certainly Vaughn, but Vaughn doesn't give you the power numbers. He just gives you the high on base percentage because of the batting average over 320. So, but there's nobody in there that you go, man, this guy's going to hit you a 3-run bomb every time at bat. He's that kind of a threat. They don't look at anybody that way. They don't have a home run guy. You know, it's a staggering figure. It's a staggering figure. That's 29 more home runs, 29 more runs the Cubs have scored than the Brewers via the home run. But yet the Cubs only have 2 more runs on the season than the Brewers do. It's because the Brewers take so many walks. It's amazing. Because when you get on base with this Brewers team, they just figure out ways to plate runs. But I just don't know if that's going to translate to the postseason. Just don't know. You think, okay, they could beat the Cubs. They could beat Philadelphia or Atlanta or whatever, they could beat those teams. But we've seen it before. If you can't get on base and you don't have a legitimate threat, that's how the Dodgers just beat the hell out of you. That's the way it gets done in the postseason.
Well, and I think we're seeing it in stretches here in the regular season, too, over the last 2 or 3 weeks when they've been so bad with runners in scoring position.
Yeah.
Part of that is luck. You get hot and cold. A team that doesn't hit with runners in scoring position and a team that doesn't hit home runs is just not a team that's going to score a ton of runs.
Yeah.
I know their season numbers look good, like if you count the entire season, but if you just look at the last 2 or 3 weeks, this has not been a good offense. And it's because they don't hit with runners in scoring position and they don't hit home runs. You got to do one of those two things, Bill, right? Like you have to be timely with your hits and you have to be clutch with your hits, or you just need to clobber homers. Those are kind of the two ways to score consistently. And it's hard to do both things, but it's especially hard to be clutch and good with runners in scoring position all the time. And we've seen that the last couple of weeks. The home runs are supposed to be like the cheat code to get past that.
Yeah.
And they just don't have a lot of that. Luckily, over the last couple of weeks, because they've played the Reds and the Guardians and some lesser teams, they've been able to stack wins, and they pitched really well. They've been able to win games anyways, but their offense hasn't been good here, or it hasn't been the high level that we saw earlier this year for a few weeks now.
Yeah, it's just it's amazing when you start to break down all these stats regarding the Brewers. People look at it and go, "Well, this can't last," but it does. It's lasted a season, 2.5 seasons now in the way they get things done. But I just keep thinking, they, because of the Woodruff stuff, they've got to find an arm. Okay, they got to go get an arm. But when you look at it, you're like, God, they need a bat. They need a bat, man. They need a big bat. They got to be able to find somebody that can give you some power and put the ball out of the ballpark. I don't know who that is. I don't know what's out there that has been rumored to be on the trading block, or what kind of speculation that's been a part of all of this. But you kind of look at it and go, yeah, you really do need a bat. You need to find something that is going to give you a legitimate threat in this lineup that is going to be able to maybe at times come up with that big, 2-out, 3-run bomb that's going to put this team either ahead or put them further ahead or back in a ball game, because they just don't have those numbers. If they had a power hitter or two on this team, holy crap. I mean, think about it. Holy mackerel, this thing would just be beyond good. They would be leading in a lot of offensive categories if you had somebody right now that had, say, 20 home runs on the season. So 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to give us a shout, please feel free to go ahead and do so. Again, Brewers back at it today. Doubleheader today, as a matter of fact. Doubleheader today. So they're maybe they get at least 1 out of 2 against the Cardinals to have a 2-game-to-1 lead right now, playing down at Busch, and then kind of go from there and maybe get a win or 2 more along the way, and then head into Pittsburgh and then round out the first half, the unofficial first half of the season, on a really, really high note. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Give us a shout. We would love to hear from you. Let's do this. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We're going to come back. We got a whole lot more to get to. Fest season is upon us, July 24th, 25th, and 26th. It is German Fest at the Milwaukee Lakefront, the Milwaukee tradition. German Fest. Get out your lederhosen, get out the big boots of beer, giant pretzels, and the sour braten and all that other stuff. Oh, it is so good. German Fest is almost upon us. For all the admission and different discounts that they run, whether it's military or special days and such, check it out at GermanFest.com. That is GermanFest.com.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket, this is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
The Packers are one of those teams where I go, I know they're going to be good, but like, it's how good? Is it going to be 10-7? We just get in the playoffs good? Or can they turn the corner and play more consistent football and Jordan Love consistently play at a high level to where they can be 12-5, 13-4? And that's the big thing with the Packers. We felt like they were going that way last year, and then they lost that game in Denver and everything changed.
Are they not living up to what they should be, or are they just what they are? And I think this year is going to go a long way toward determining that. Look, we both have a lot of respect for Jordan Love. We enjoy spending time with him when we have the opportunity to do so. But there are too many occasions where there's a lack of consistency in achieving the highest levels of his performance. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think so. I think you're saying the kind of the same thing with their football team. They're a really good football team, but it feels like, we don't always see them execute or play at their highest level. And, to your phrase you always use, playing with their food.
That is Mike Florio, Chris Sims, talking a little football, talking a little Jordan Love, some of the things that we discussed yesterday. The consistently inconsistent, if you will, and trying to get better, trying to be better at not having the inconsistencies and not having a week in which you just blow the doors off of a team, and then the next week you can't seem to score. Or you go a couple of quarters and you look great, and after that, it's like your offense never even showed up. So they're trying to get back to where it's just consistent football, and they're better at it on a consistent basis. So, but the term consistency seems to be becoming more and more prevalent when it comes to the Packers. And I was reading more yesterday. I went through some of the Pro Football Focus stuff that we had kind of discussed, and it's kind of the same thing. I mean, you look at the numbers, not just of Jordan Love. You just look at the numbers that the Packers are able to kind of put up and do, and you're thinking, God, these are really good numbers. And then you realize that some of this is for half of a game. Some of this, it's one game, and then the next game it's in the tank. It's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling that they have been this good with, for lack of a better term, the inconsistency, and I hate to keep pounding on that, but the inconsistency that they've played with. So, it's an interesting take. We're going to obviously read more about this and hear more about this coming up. By the way, we talked to him when we were at the Combine. I think, didn't we talk to Thor when we were out at Super Bowl, or was Thor not there? I know we talked to him at Combine.
It all runs together,
right?
I know for sure he was at the Combine.
He was at the Combine because he was across from us. So Thor Nystrom from
that's right,
from Score North is going to be joining us coming up here in just a couple of minutes, bottom of the hour. And we'll talk to him about the NFC North. We'll talk to him obviously about the Minnesota Vikings, but also about, what they have going on. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Now, yesterday, we were talking about how Jordan Love was ranked 14th, and he has fallen over time in Chris Sims' ranking. So I went to Pro Football Focus, and they rank him at number 6 overall in the National Football League. Now, let me give you the top 5 ahead of him: Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, which is pretty much very similar in many ranking systems. They believe those are the top 2 quarterbacks in the National Football League. Now, here's where it gets speculative. Lamar Jackson at number 2, Patrick Mahomes at number 4. Some will have them flip-flop. Number 5 is Matthew Stafford. So you're talking about Patrick Mahomes, Super Bowl rings. Lamar Jackson, it's 1 MVPs. Joe Burrow, been to a Super Bowl, tremendous, obviously had a lot of injuries and a bad defense. Josh Allen, he's won an MVP. So they've got guys that are very, very established. Matthew Stafford has won a Super Bowl. And then there's Jordan Love. And they say, and I quote, Love took a big step forward in 2025, combining efficiency with consistency. Now, they say he had consistency. He led all the qualified quarterbacks in EPA per dropback, while his 88.7 Pro Football Focus passer grade and 2.97 wins above replacement both ranked among the league's top 3. The Packers quarterback was particularly impressive when the pressure was kept at bay, which we already knew that. You go by Sumer Sports and their grading system, and they called him the assassin, earning the 94.2 passing grade from Pro Football Focus from a clean pocket. He continued to create some explosive plays without putting the ball in harm's way, pairing the 5.9% big arm, big time throw rate, which was 5th, with a 2.6% turnover worthy play rate, which was 9th. So in other words, what that means is he's in a clean pocket, he's deadly. And in throwing the ball downfield, it was either to his guy or it was incomplete. He wasn't getting the ball picked in those 50-50 balls that his guys had to go up and get. He was putting it into a place where only his guys were going to get it, or it was going to fall incomplete, which is tremendous. But the difference in what you just heard from Mike Florio and Chris Sims, who both state over and over again, they really like Jordan Love. He's really, really good. They just say the consistency by which he needs to play just needs to go. There's that extra. That's the thing that people are looking for. While Pro Football Focus says, look, he took a big step last year, and he did. There's no denying that. He absolutely did. They say he played with consistency, efficiency with consistency. So mark that. Efficiency with consistency. But there needs to be a more consistent offense for this team. And they're right, going back to what Florio and Chris Sims both said, in 2 quarters, 2.5 quarters, they'll look great. And then all of a sudden, it goes away. Inexplicably, it's just gone. They'll play great in this particular game, great against the Lions, great against the Nationals, or the Washington Commanders. And then all of a sudden, Cleveland, they have no clue how to move the football. Their offensive line got manhandled. So it goes back to what we were talking about yesterday. There's a lot of different things that went into the inconsistency. It wasn't just Jordan Love. You can't shoulder him with all of that blame. But overall, as a unit, there absolutely needs to be more consistency this year. Rounding out the top 10, by the way, Justin Herbert, I think he's a little bit high. Dak Prescott, I would put Dak Prescott before Justin Herbert. Drake May, and then at number 10 was Brock Purdy. I would put Brock Purdy up there higher than that, too. I don't even think I'd put Justin Herbert in the top 10 because he can't do anything in the postseason.
I don't know what's the big line of demarcation between Jordan Love and Justin Herbert. I've never understood that.
I don't know.
What I mean,
Herbert posted a career low passer grade in 2025, including a career worst 27.5 passer grade. And the Chargers wild card loss to the Patriots. There was a legitimate reason for his decline, though. They said that L.A. earned the second worst team pass block grade. So, in other words, it's not his fault. It's the offensive line's fault. And I get it. Rashawn Slater, Joe Alt, both of those guys, season-ending injuries. You know, he was pressured on a bunch of his dropbacks last year. I saw this on Pro Football Weekly as well. But they believe that his overall passer grade will be better with a better offensive line in front of him, and he'll be the quarterback that everybody expects him to be. But the problem is, every year, Grant, you and I say the same thing. Like, is this going to be his year? Is Justin Herbert going to be the guy this year?
I feel like every year it's like, well, now he has weapons, look out. And then in the middle of the year, it's like, yo, well, his O-line's not good. And then the next year is, well, now he's got an O-line, look out. And then he got Harbaugh. It's like, well, now he got Harbaugh, look out. And it's like, he's been the same. I think he's remarkably talented. You know what I mean? I don't understand why maybe it's because he plays for the Chargers. Like, if Justin Herbert played for the Packers and Jordan Love played for the, like, you think it'd be different? I'm not saying that, like, the Packers are, well, maybe I am saying, I think the Packers are under a little bit more of a microscope. Like, if Jordan Love played for the Browns or if he played for the Jag, like, I think he would probably be talked about better. And I think Justin Herbert probably gets away with some of those shortcomings because he plays for the Chargers, and, you know, who really cares? He's the second team in his own city. I just don't understand how someone can say Jordan Love, I'm not so sure. Justin Herbert is amazing, though. I don't know. I'm not saying Jordan Love is perfect, but I don't get the difference between those two guys. Sorry.
I agree. We keep waiting for that next thing, that next step up, so to speak. But I do find it interesting as to where they put all of these quarterbacks. Now, they're ranking the top 32, all the top starters. So whereas Chris Sims, he ranks all the mattering quarterbacks. I think he goes to 43 quarterbacks. You know, when there's technically, with every team having a starter and then a backup or somebody more likely to play, you know, plus some of the quarterbacks that have moved around, and then there's quarterback competition. So he's ranked a lot of those other quarterbacks along with all of that. So he's probably got 11 more quarterbacks in his list than just the top 32 who are expected to be the starters this season. So because there's honorable mentions like Fernando Mendoza, Michael Penix Jr., Shedeur Sanders, J.J. McCarthy, guys like that. And J.J. McCarthy, though, in this Pro Football Focus ranking system, he was an honorable mention, but he's not in the top 32, and he was a starter. So it tells you right there what the kind of the uphill battle that they have going on over there in Minnesota, which is what we are going to talk about when we return. We'll talk a little bit more about that because we're going to talk to Thor Nystrom from our friends at Score North. That's going to be coming up here in just a couple of minutes. So stay tuned. We're going to talk a little football when we come back. And this portion of the program is brought to you by our good friends over there at Big Boar Barbecue. Big Boar Barbecue, whether it's lunches, dinners, catering, maybe you stopped in for breakfast this morning. Who knows? But it's family owned, 3 brothers owned. And every time you go in there, you're just helping out the family. And it's really good food along the way because you're getting something really, really good in return. And that's the best situation to be in. So go to Big Boar, B-O-A-R, BigBoarBBQ.com. That is BigBoarBBQ.com. They're in West Salem, Wisconsin. But if you need, say, something for your business, you want to say thanks to your employees, maybe you got an outing, maybe you got some clients coming in, whatever it is, they do a little catering as well. They can bring it there. They can unwrap it and everything for you, get it all ready to go. That is Big Boar, B-O-A-R, BigBoarBBQ.com.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Grab a pen, Madison. I'm going to tell you how much it really costs to borrow $500 at the DLC. Okay, let's do a little math. If you borrow $500, it will only cost you $3.78 per day. You can keep it out for a week, a month, a year. That's up to you. No application fee, no sneaky charges. Just $3.78 per day in interest for a $500 loan. For new customers, the first week's interest is even on us. It's easy to qualify, and you only pay interest for the time you have the loan out at Dollar Loan Center. Visit us in Madison or Beloit, and DLC is now open in Janesville, Beaver Dam, and coming soon to Sun Prairie.
Licensed and regulated by the Wisconsin Department of Financial Institutions. estimated amounts based on biweekly pay frequency with annual percentage rate of 275%. For additional cost information, call 866-550-4352. Subject to approval, limitations may apply. See website for details.
Shopping for new windows and doors shouldn't feel like a negotiation. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin doesn't believe in games. They never inflate pricing, and there's no high-pressure sales pitch. Just premium windows and doors built for long-term comfort, beauty, and peace of mind. Buy direct through Pella, and one trusted team handles everything with Pella certified installers every step of the way. Real pricing, premium quality, no games. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Schedule your free in-home consultation today at PellaWI.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Hopefully, you never need an attorney, but if you do, there's a good one. Brent Iceburner from Levine Iceburner, whether it's personal injury, estate planning, civil litigation, contracts, whatever it happens to be, and whatever you need, they are the ones that actually answer the phone, build a relationship with you, and oh, by the way, they actually go to court for you. They're not just figureheads. Brent Iceburner, a veteran himself, also brings that same attention to detail to the courtroom and to your case. Like I said, builds a relationship with you. If you're looking for a dependable attorney, somebody that you're going to talk to, actually answers their phone, 608-621-2888, 608-621-2888, Levine Iceburner. Longtime attorneys, we use them for Big Unit Foundation as well, 608-621-2888. 2888 Levine Iceburner. Make sure you give them a call when you do. Make sure you tell them you heard it here. We certainly appreciate that as well. Joining us now on the hotline from over in Minnesota, over in Minneapolis, that area, Thor Nystrom from Score North, Thor KU over there on the social media platforms, joining us on the hotline. Thor, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing great, Bill. How are you?
Doing well. What has the offseason brought you as far as you start thinking about training camp and the upcoming 2026 NFL season?
Man, just a countdown to when we open up training camp there. You know, I mean, even getting the news from mini camps and OTAs, you know, coming out of the draft, appreciated that. And we're in kind of the dead period now. But as you know, that's about to lift here in a couple of weeks. So I just can't wait.
So first and foremost, let's talk about the Vikings themselves and the fact that, you know, they've got a quarterback. I don't want to call it a controversy, but it certainly seems like, you know, they're doing and saying all the right things, but sitting on the opposite sides of the room and some of the things that, you know, J.J. McCarthy has said have seemed kind of rookie-esque and or petulant at times. But give me your thoughts from the inside.
Yeah, it's a situation that we haven't seen often in the NFL, where you have a top 10 pick that's been limited to 10 appearances his first two seasons with the injuries, and then an opportunity to sign an objective top 20 quarterback in the NFL for the veteran minimum, setting the stage for this camp competition that we're going to have. Can Kevin O'Connell do right by both a fair competition that you have time to evaluate both of them at the beginning of camp, but then sort of turn the key at some point during it, so you have time to build the offense around the guy that wins before the season? Because obviously J.J. McCarthy and Kyler Murray do not play the same. You're not going to have the same offense built around both those different guys. So you need a couple weeks at the end there to do that. And can Kevin O'Connell do all that without the locker room turning against him or ripping it in half, creating factions there? I think that's the fascinating thing to watch. But we're sort of walking into uncharted territory here. So this is all kind of wait and see and see how this thing plays out.
I am fascinated. I mean, offensively, obviously, you're loaded. You got Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. You pick up Jawan Jennings in the offseason. You still have, like you mentioned, Kyler Murray that could be under center. Aaron Jones is still there. Jordan Mason is still there. It seems, and TJ Hawkinson, who I forgot about, it seems like you're set up offensively should the quarterback position play well for a good offensive season, right?
I would agree with that. Yeah. I mean, if the injury bad luck that the Vikings had last year, if that normalizes as well, and typically we see that in the NFL, they had the rash of offensive line injuries last year, and it was one of the reasons that they had the worst pressure rate allowed in the NFL. And then with the run game, I believe the Vikings were second in terms of when the defender first hits the running back. I think it was 0.9 yards. So all the advanced metrics just became rancid for that offensive line. But part of it was Christian Darrisaw in and out of the lineup when he was playing. playing, he was struggling, still hadn't sort of kicked the knee injury that he had, and that's a power player. He needs that base under him to have that bully forklift kind of game that he has. When he loses the power, it's like Samson losing his hair, and the effectiveness goes away. So is he going to be healthy this year? And then the interior offensive line, you had injuries there as well, and that struggled as well. But assuming the offensive line depth is better, but assume this season, but assuming that the injury luck that normalizes as well, yeah, you have all the makings there for offensive success if you get the quarterback play right this year.
They picked up that big kid out of Northwestern. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but the offensive Tiernan, Caleb Tiernan. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
he's kind of a beast. I mean, do they kind of look at him and say, look, if Darisaw goes down, like this is a guy that's automatically going to step into that role?
Yeah, I think he was a two-pronged insurance policy in the short term for 2026 against more Darisaw injuries, I think. And beyond that, I think Brian O'Neill heading into the last year of his contract. And Brian O'Neill, we saw, not a hold him, but we didn't see him doing as much stuff during minicamp and OTAs. They obviously want a contract extension there, and the Vikings are open to that, but before the season, can they work that out with Brian O'Neill? A top flight NFL right tackle. You'd be setting the stage for him then potentially be able to hit the agency after this season. So I think it was a two-pronged thing with that. The depth, which was so shoddy last year, he helps address that in the short term, while potentially giving them a long-term option at whether it's Brian O'Neill leaving in free agency or whether it's Darisaw, the body betraying him. Because now Darisaw, it's been 2 years since he was the elite left tackle that we kind of remember. So we need him to kind of turn the clock back. But Tiernan, he counts his insurance policy against that as well.
Getting Caleb Banks early, getting Orange. Is it Orange or Dominic? Is it Orange or is it Dominic?
Yeah, Orange.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, Orange.
Picking them up to bolster that defensive front. Obviously, you still have a really solid, what is considered to be a solid defense. Now we'll see what Flores dials up against this season. It seems like if you get good quarterback play, things could be dramatically different this season, right?
I would agree with you, Bill. Yeah, and there's real excitement with that defensive front that you're mentioning. Last year, everyone knows the Vikings went on this ill-fated spending spree in free agency. Kwesi had drafted, the former GM, had drafted poorly for a couple years, and they needed to augment the roster with all this cash that they had open. Two of the big whiffs that he had, and he had a lot of whiffs in free agency last offseason, two of the biggest ones were on the defensive front. Jonathan Allen didn't play that well last year, and Javon Hargrave didn't play well for the Vikings in his 1 year, although he had reasoning for that, thought that the scheme got a little bit conservative there. But either way, Vikings move on and then replace those two guys with the two high draft picks. If Caleb Banks, if his foot is healthy, which is an enormous if, you have to put a huge asterisk on this. But if it is, that guy was born to play football for Brian Flores. 6'6", 330 pounds. He has a wingspan over 7 feet, and he's a freak athlete. He was like a 9'8" Raz at the NFL Combine. He moves around on the field just as well. And then Dominic Orange, he's sort of a belated replacement for Harrison Phillips. You recall, Bill, last August, the Vikings, it got a lot of fanfare when they traded for Adam Thielen, but they got some of the draft equity to do that by trading out Harrison Phillips around the same time to the Jets. Harrison Phillips, it's a grinder guy. There's nothing sexy about his game, but he occupies offensive linemen, and that allows linebackers to flow to the ball. When Ivan Pace, the 2 years before that, was playing behind Harrison Phillips, he was one of the better young run-defending linebackers in the NFL. Last year with Harrison Phillips gone, all of a sudden Ivan Pace stunk in run defense as well, and he's always stunk in coverage, so all of a sudden he wasn't playable anymore. Dominic Orange, you put him over center, that guy occupies. He eats double teams, he occupies, and he allows the linebackers to flow to the ball. So getting something with him as well that the defense lacked last year.
I'm talking with Thor Nystrom at Thor KU and from Score North, covering not only the NFC North and obviously the Minnesota Vikings as well. Go to the NFC North. So when you look at the things that have been done in the powers that be, and maybe all the ascending teams, obviously the Packers are near the top, and the Detroit Lions have been on top, and now you've got a resurgence in Chicago. How good do you think this division is now?
I think it's pretty good. I mean, do we have a Super Bowl contender here in 2026? That might, maybe, but absolutely you have 4 different teams here that can win the division. We saw how competitive it was last year. It's going to be just as competitive this year. You have interesting factors, though, heading into this season with, like, for instance, the discrepancies of the strength of schedules, with the Lions having what appears to be by far the easiest schedule in the NFL here heading into the regular season, and then Chicago, by virtue of winning the division last year, they have one of the hardest schedules in the league. And then, your team and my team kind of in the middle of that. But can the Bears, a team that had all the comeback wins and all the one possession wins and kind of early on the development curve playing a bad schedule last year or a below average in the NFL schedule, now you are no longer the hunter, you are the hunted. And against this murderous row of a schedule, they also have a couple of roster holes there. They did not address edge. I was surprised by that. And they have some issues with the offensive line as well. So you could see some regression from the Bears, although, on the other hand of it, you have Caleb Williams going into the third year. Usually you get the jump there. But, yeah, I mean, just overall in this division, every team, you can easily make an argument for any of these teams to win the division.
Which I completely agree with. Now, if you're going to have to handicap it, how do you see it?
Well, I can say this on your show, Bill, maybe a little bit easier than I might be able to say it on my own, but I probably would lean to the Packers right now.
Really?
And of course, as you know, yeah, I mean, like the Parsons thing, when he comes back, obviously that will tell a tale with this, and then the Josh Jacobs situation. But assuming that the Packers, both those guys are come back around when we expect they would, against that schedule there, I think I just would favor them. There's some popularity with the Lions because of that easy schedule. They got some real roster holes now. Brad Holmes at the start of his tenure, he got criticized for his drafting, but he smashed those drafts. And so it was like, I know something that you guys don't. Well, now that the drafting has regressed there and you see these depth issues, certainly they have a puncher's chance for the division, but a bit more tepid because of that. I probably would put them second though. And then I'm probably going to go the Vikings third. Vikings and Bears are pretty close for me, but I'd probably skew at Vikings third and then the Bears going from first to worst.
Yeah, I really kind of feel like, and I know there's a lot of people that are really hyped up about what the Bears did last year, and rightfully so. But between the come from behind wins, those cardiac minutes, and then obviously all the turnovers that they created, that usually doesn't travel to the next season. So now you got to get it on your merits, and your quarterback has to be better than 56% in the pocket, and you've got to be better defensively down the stretch. So I don't know. We'll see. And I'm talking about better in holding teams, not just getting turnovers. So we'll see what the Bears end up doing. And I kind of tend to agree with you. Now that they're going to face that tough schedule, we'll really see what the Bears are all about. But I still think it's the Detroit Lions division to lose. But we'll wait and see. What do you think? Because all the rankings are coming out now about quarterbacks and where they stand. And you're looking at Jared Goff and Caleb Williams and Jordan Love and obviously what you have in Kyler Murray and J.J. McCarthy. How would you rank the quarterbacks in the division?
I'd probably go Lions, Packers, Bears, Vikings.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, in terms of picking the rooms. Yeah, but yeah, something like that. Caleb Williams, I need to see it this year. The consistency goes up and down with him, and he had some luck as far as would-be interceptions that clanked off the defender's hands, and the offense kept the ball last year. So I just sort of want to see how that plays out. But yeah, I put the Packers and Lions there at the top.
Yeah, I really, Jared Goff with the experience, he's been there, done that to a Super Bowl. I understand that, but I'll tell you this. Kyler Murray has always been a guy that is great for 7 games, and he puts up spectacular numbers, and you look at him and you go, wow, that's why they drafted him. And then he goes away or he gets hurt or there's, whatever. He's just never been able to put together that full season. He got paid on potential, but he's never been able to put it all together. And so when I look at the Minnesota Vikings, and if Kevin O'Connell is truly this quarterback whisperer like people want to believe, I wonder how much more Kyler Murray's game elevates. You know what I mean?
That's very well said, and it's a weird fit on the surface. O'Connell likes the classic drop back, passing attack where it's the pure progression type system, and where he marries the quarterback's drop back to the receiver's routes, and okay, now that guy's not there, then you're going to go to this guy and that sort of thing. Kyler doesn't play on time, and then he doesn't play from the pocket a lot unless it's the pre-designed look. You see a lot of the screen sort of stuff from the Cardinals in recent years. When he has to go downfield, the past 3 years, Kyler Murray's had the worst accuracy, 20-plus yards downfield. That's another staple of O'Connell's offense. Throwing over the middle, that's another enormous one. Kyler doesn't do that either because of the vantage point stuff, at least on time with the concepts. So it's one of the odder fits for a guy in Kevin O'Connell that has this crazy adherence to his system. There was the frustrations last year that he had with the young quarterback, J.J. McCarthy, where O'Connell was reticent to make any shifts to his scheme whatsoever to accommodate the young quarterback. But now he signed a quarterback where if you start him, you don't have a choice but to make enormous accommodations. And it's sort of a playground type style of ball that Kyler Murray has. On the surface, we see the talent, you and I do, Bill, but in terms of the fit for the offense, it doesn't appear to be super duper clean. So just fascinated to see the way that plays out.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting throughout this season as well. Always great to talk to you, Thor. We'll talk again once camp hits in a few weeks, okay?
Thanks so much for having me on, Bill.
Appreciate it, bud. There you go. Thor Nystrom from Score North, covering the Vikings. You can find him at ThorKU over on the social media platforms as well. But always good stuff. Always good stuff. We had a great time with him down at the Combine down in Indianapolis as well. This portion of our program, it's brought to you by our friends at Potawatomi. And at Potawatomi, today is Tuesday. You know what that means? Today is Tuesday. Tuesday slot tournament. You can do it every Tuesday. First place, you get $5,000 in rewards play. Second place, 2. Third place, 1. But it is a reason to head down there after earning 500 same-day tier credits. Any promotional kiosk, you can print out your slot tournament entry slip, and it must be redeemed the same day, by the way. But all you got to do is bring your printed slip to the promotion stage, and you're on the second level to play that slot tournament. Oh, it's good stuff. Today is Tuesday, Slot Tuesdays, with the slot tournament going on. That is at Potawatomi. Potawatomi has all the information. Go to Potawatomi.com. That is Potawatomi.com. And don't forget, we're going to be actually up in Carter, Wisconsin in October. We are coming to do one of the Green and Gold postgame shows live. So I'm looking forward to that as well. For all the information for the Tuesday slot tournament, go to Potawatomi.com. That is Potawatomi.com.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
The 19th annual Big Unit Poker Run supporting Big Unit Foundation in Fisher House, Wisconsin. It's coming up on Sunday, September 6th, and I'm telling you, get signed up. If you haven't already, just go to bigunitfoundation.com and go to the events page, and you can find the link to get signed up. But get registered. The morning of the ride, one of you, whoever gets pre-registered, somebody is going to win a pair of tickets for Conversations for a Cause to go meet and greet Pat Murphy, the manager of the Milwaukee Brewers, who has been so kind as to be our first ever guest on that evening at the River Club of Mequon on Thursday night, September 10th. But you get a free pair of tickets that's valued over $700. So get pre-registered. Not to mention, when you get pre-registered, you just drive in that day, show the receipt on your phone, boom, you get your information, you're on your way. You don't have to stay and fill out paperwork or anything like that. Everything's taken care of. And you get a little bit of a price break, too. So there's another reason to get pre-registered. But the 19th annual Big Unit Poker Run, always the Sunday of Labor Day weekend. Sunday, September 6th, all motorcycles are welcome. We're looking to break a record this year with over 1,400 motorcycles and close to 2,000 participants, raising money for veterans, military members, and their families. It's the biggest ride of the year. It is the annual Fisher House, Wisconsin ride. So we are the ones that put it on each and every year. We've been doing it now for 19 years, and we're getting ready for our 20th, which is going to be even bigger and better. But we're really looking forward to this coming up again, Sunday, September 6th. If you haven't gotten registered already, you can do it right there on your screen. There's a QR code. Otherwise, simply go to bigunitfoundation.com and go to the events page, and you'll see it right there. Click on it. It'll take you right to it. All the information right there for you on the page, and it'll get you over to the registration and everything. And you could be somebody that walks away with a pair of tickets to go meet up with Pat Murphy and be a part of Conversations for a Cause. And that is going to be Thursday night, September 6th. But those tickets are valued, for the VIP tickets, they're valued over $700. So there you go. We're looking forward to that. We've got that fast. 2 hours down with 2 hours yet to go. Good stuff. That fast. More coming up about some of the stuff that we just talked with Thor Nystrom about. We can get into that discussion. We have got more Brewers chatter. Brewers today obviously making a couple of roster moves, getting ready for the doubleheader today. So all of that upcoming as well. But 2 hours down, 2 hours yet to go. Don't go anywhere. We certainly appreciate you being here. We'll be back right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Brewers and Cardinals going to play a doubleheader today after the Crew took the first game of 5 last night with a comeback 4-3 victory. Milwaukee scored all 4 of the runs in the 7th inning, highlighted by a 2-run single from Bryce Terang to take the lead. It left the Brewers lead in the NL Central at 6.5 games on Chicago. The first game this afternoon going to feature Jacob Mizrowski on the mound for the Crew. First pitch at 1:15. Turning to the Bucks, they made the trade of Giannis Antetokounmpo official yesterday. It ended his 13 years in Milwaukee that featured 2 MVPs and the franchise's first championship in 50 years back in 2021. The good times outweighed the bad during his tenure, and Giannis believes those highs going to be how he's remembered as opposed to how he left.
Hopefully when people see me and think about me, to think about the things that I've done for the team and things that I've done for the city and how I carried myself and how I grew in this city, and hopefully they remember, those moments.
GM John Horst expected to speak with reporters this afternoon about the trade and the reasoning behind it.
Truck drivers, are you looking for a career that offers more opportunities? Find out why Schneider stands above the others. In addition to offering the widest selection of home time options, Schneider's safety focus protects drivers. From advanced safety technology on all trucks to giving drivers complete control to determine when it's safe to drive, Schneider delivers. New to trucking, Schneider offers company-paid CDL training and tuition reimbursement options to help you get started. Join a carrier that makes your safety its priority. Search driving jobs near you at schneiderjobs.com.
Wisconsin officially introducing new athletic director Sean Eichhorst this afternoon in Madison. They are holding an event inside Camp Randall Stadium for donors and then a press conference with reporters afterwards. Eichhorst comes from being the Texas deputy athletic director and returns to Wisconsin, where he spent 5 years in the mid-2000s as part of former AD Barry Alvarez's administration. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
Probably would lean to the Packers right now. And,
Really?
and of
Okay.
course, as you know, yeah, I mean, like the Parsons thing, when he comes back, obviously that will tell a tale with this, and then the Josh Jacobs situation. But assuming that the Packers, both those guys are come back around when we expect they would, against that schedule there, I think I just would favor them. There's some popularity with the Lions because of that easy schedule. They got some real roster holes now. Brad Holmes at the start of his tenure, he got criticized for his drafting, but he smashed those drafts, and so it was like, I know something that you guys don't. Well, now that the drafting has regressed there, and you see these depth issues. Certainly, they have a puncher's chance for the division, but a bit more tepid because of that. I probably would put them second, though. And then I'm probably going to go the Vikings third. Vikings and Bears are pretty close for me, but I'd probably skew at Vikings third, and then the Bears going from first to worst.
Welcome back. Bill Michaels Show. That is Thor Nystrom. Thor Nystrom. And he is from Score North. Just a little while ago on the program, talking about the NFC North. Welcome back into the program. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Hour number 3 getting underway. We certainly appreciate you being here. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. That's the phone number you can find us. You can text us, 608-321-1670. Certainly appreciate that. Find us on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show, youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. Find us on Twitter, on X, @Bill_Michaels, @Bill_Michaels. Find Grant @Wisco Grant. The app, which is Wisco Sports Zone, Wisco Sports Zone. Email the program, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. The website simply thebillmichaels.com. You can find us on all the social media platforms as well. We appreciate it when you do. On Facebook, we are at The Bill Michaels Show. Instagram, which if you make the meter behind me move, we certainly appreciate that. And the meter right now, today, as it stands, we are at, 73, I think is what it is. There it is, 73. I think I bumped the camera a little while ago. 5,073. So we appreciate, and it's gone up 3 of them today, which is awesome. So you can also track us down on the Twitch app, the Kick app, the LinkedIn app as well, which are great apps to find us and watch the show. You can catch us, our television show that comes on My 24 TV in Milwaukee. That airs on Saturday night, 8 o'clock Central Time. Saturday night, 8 o'clock Central Time as well. I got to admit, I've been a little distracted over the last half an hour in the studio.
Okay.
I leave on sports channels. You know, I either have Sports Center on or something like that because I'm always watching to see if there's something that breaks in the ticker or whatever. I don't know what it is. I don't know what show it is, but they are doing kind of a history of basketball. And for the last, I don't know, half hour, it has been about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar playing for the Bucks, Oscar Robertson playing for the Bucks, and the history of basketball in Milwaukee. But we're talking about Giannis, and then these in-depth interviews with Al McGuire, going back to Al McGuire when Marquette won the NCAA championship. And I did not know that Al McGuire was a Harley rider. Did you know that? There's this whole segment of Al McGuire. I had to go back and watch it because I hit pause and during the commercial break, and I had to kind of scroll through it. Al McGuire talking about his Harley Davidson, his motorcycle. And they show him riding it from an aerial view, like a helicopter followed him, I guess, because we didn't have drones back in those days. A helicopter followed him riding his Harley across the Hone Bridge on the Milwaukee lakefront, heading to Marquette to coach the basketball team. And he's wearing a warm-up suit while he's riding. He's got the hair. I mean, he's got the good hair going and got the Irish hair, you know, just kind of almost look Italian-esque, flowing back. And he's wearing a warm-up suit. That's a Marquette basketball warm-up suit. But on the back, where they used to have the hood and the hood was unzipped in the back, you know, the old days, it says Al McGuire across it. So anybody that's riding on the highway knows Al McGuire just passed him, you know. But he's riding this Harley across the Hone Bridge coming into downtown Milwaukee as he goes to make the left-hand turn that takes you west towards the Marquette campus. And there he is, just badass coming across. He's like, yeah, you know, and this is all just before the start of basketball season. This was back, I guess, in what would be September, October, when he's coming across the bridge. But there he is coming across the bridge. And then they transfer that. There's a couple of more things. There's Mike Krzyzewski and a couple other things in there. And then they go to Oscar Robertson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and watching the Bucks win a championship, which was fantastic. I'm like, wow, this is actually pretty cool. I mean, I felt bad because I'm trying to really focus on what Thor is saying regarding the NFC North, but it's this whole history of basketball, and now they've gone on to the Boston Celtics and the Lakers and everything. But for this segment of time, it was very Milwaukee concentrated. And it was really, really cool to see old footage about my mom. It's the reason when this job came available years and years and years ago, when I had a chance to go to work for WTMJ and the Green Bay Packers, it was such an incredibly natural fit because I already knew, look, the Reds were in the National League Central, so were the Brewers. I already knew about even the AHL team because the Cincinnati Cyclones played the Milwaukee Admirals. Obviously, I grew up a Bart Starr fan with my parents. My mom loved Al McGuire and Digger Phelps. I mean, Jesuit colleges, Catholic colleges, here you go, you know, and they're both fiery coaches. They coach the right way. So I already knew everything about Al McGuire and everything about Digger Phelps from Notre Dame at the time. And then, you know, knowing the Big Ten the way I do, and Wisconsin was a natural fit, it was just like, this was so easy for me. And my dad was this massive Oscar Robertson fan. So growing up, it was first the Cincinnati Royals and what the Royals had to offer as an NBA team. And even back then, I didn't really remember much of the Cincinnati Royals, but then Oscar Robertson came to Milwaukee. And so I kind of followed Milwaukee basketball a little bit. And it was just such an incredibly natural fit for the ascension. But yeah, just to see all that, all the old footage when I was just a small kid, but I could remember some of this stuff. It was really cool. So I'm sitting here at the studio just like, what? Okay. You know, did you ever do that where you see, like, you get people that go past the window and talk to you, you know, while you're on the air, trying to mouth something to you and you have no idea what they're saying, but you're trying to do a radio show and see people the same. This was that very same situation. I'm just
somebody dropped off an ice cream bar.
Yeah.
But I was distracted during Thor's interview for a different reason because, and I messaged you, I just love his accent.
Yes.
We don't have regional accents. Like, that's a man born and raised in Brainerd, Minnesota.
Yeah.
Right there. We don't have enough regional accents. Everyone tries to lose their accent, especially when they get into, you know, media when they're talking. I just love that guy's voice. Yep. So I don't know if that distracted me or it made me focus more on what he was saying, but I was just entranced.
Yeah. It was really good. It's always good when we get a chance to talk to him because he's obviously very knowledgeable, but very frank about many things, which is also awesome. It's kind of like when we would get Paul Charchian on. And we talk fantasy football, but Charch also being from the Minnesota area would also give us a very honest look into what was going on via the Minnesota Vikings. Which, by the way, have we solidified through Charch, whoever took over for him, our fantasy guy for this year?
No, I guess we need to think.
We need to think about doing that. I was just thinking of him the other day. He had sent me a text where he took a picture he was out hiking on top of some mountain somewhere. And I'm like, that's a beautiful view. Do you miss, working? He's like, not a bit. Not a bit.
Not at all.
So yeah, we got to think of a new fantasy guy this year. We got to find him because I know he's got a guy that took over for him. So we're going to have to do that. But so anyway, that was today. It's on, I think it's ESPN News. When I was scrolling through the channels, ESPN News is what it's on. And I was just watching that. So interesting stuff. But it was just this really cool flashback to stuff from Milwaukee, from the Brewers, or from the Bucks and Marquette and championships and such. So good stuff. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to give us a shout, please feel free to go ahead and do so. Again, 877-867-1670, or text us 608-321-1670, 608-321-1670. By the way, the Cleveland Cavaliers, their all-NBA star Donovan Mitchell agreed to a 4-year, $273 million supermax that includes the player option for 2030-31 in that season and a full trade kicker, $273 million on a 4-year deal. That's for Donovan Mitchell. Crazy money.
I think he's going to be making 70-some million at the end of that when he's, I don't remember how old he would be, but there's some crazy money that's thrown around in the NBA. And this is why the Jaylen Brown situation was so interesting to me, is the rest of the league looked around and said, the player's fine, but not that much money. You know what I mean? And I wonder moving forward if teams and owners are going to be a bit more selective, where it's like, yeah, we can't just give out a max contract to anyone who's a borderline star because the money's getting a little ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy money. Which, when you think about it, Tyler Hero is going to be coming up on a contract issue as well. They're talking about him making $50+ million a year, which is the reason there's still the speculation that whether it's in the offseason or during the trade deadline when somebody needs a shooter, that he could end up being, on the trade block. So that's why I don't think they're going to just pay it, say, here you go, and give him that level of money. At least I would assume not, but just another thought. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to give us a shout, please feel free. We would love to hear from you. This one's from Jason. Great stuff today. He says, great interview with that guy named Thor. Where does he work again? I'd like to listen to maybe his podcast. I like what he had to say about the Green Bay Packers, but I think he's overly optimistic. Maybe it's because he's just on your station and he knows you cater to Packers fans. I'm not quite as optimistic as he is about the Green Bay Packers this season. I agree with you. I think Detroit is a better team, but let's not completely count out the magic that took place last year in Chicago. If they get even better, this team could then win the division going away. What are your thoughts? Jason, first of all, I appreciate the email. Thank you. I don't disagree with anything that you said. If they get better, there's the ifs. Like if the Packers front line on the offense gets better, they'll be at least what I consider to be a runaway favorite for the division. If you keep a healthy season out of both Tucker Kraft and Micah Parsons, if the guys that they brought in, such as Hargrave and Franklin, and then the deals they made to thin out that receiving core to give more of an emphasis to Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, and if Matthew Golden ascends, look, there's a lot of ifs. And yeah, the Packers could then be that dominant team that we expect. But the same thing goes for the Bears. If Caleb Williams is better in the pocket, if they're able to continue that magic and still be that turnover-savvy defense, if they get a little bit better in the secondary, if they get themselves an offense that doesn't sputter early on, but yet really excels early, doesn't find themselves in holes, and then have to have those furious comebacks. If they get those leads, well, then they have that capability to not only come back, but also to sustain or expound upon leads. So, look, anything can happen, ifs. But I just think that getting that first place schedule, having the unlikelihood of transferring the come from behind wins and the luck in the turnover department that they had last year, that doesn't always kind of travel. So I I think they're an ascending team, but I don't know how much. And this year is really going to kind of see if they come back to earth a little bit or if they just expound upon the magic and they just get better. And if they do, then they got something going on down there. But I think a lot of people are expecting them to take that step back. But a really good email. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to call in, do it. Want to hear from you. Phone lines are wide open at this point. We can talk a little Brewers baseball as well. Stay tuned. We got a whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at MIBA, M-I-B-A, MIBA Industrial Bearings. They're in Grafton, Wisconsin, and they have got the hydrodynamic bearings that hydrodynamic basically means they're the pressurized bearings. They're the ones that can even launch, F-16s off of the decks of aircraft carriers. I mean, they do all that kind of stuff. They've got great contracts. They're expected to expand, almost double in size over the next few years. They've got not only facilities here in Wisconsin, but they've got them in Ohio, they got them in Kansas, they got them in Texas, and they're hiring all over the country right now. So if you're listening to this program and you want to move, you're willing to move, you got a great company that's willing to pay you, or if you're here in the state of Wisconsin and you're looking for a gig, say in Grafton, Wisconsin, they can help you out. Search them on Indeed. Indeed, by searching MIBA, M as in Michael, M-I-B-A, MIBA Industrial Bearings. And they're based in Grafton, Wisconsin. You can call them direct, 262-337-2210. But just go to MIBA on Indeed and search the jobs, upload your resume. It doesn't matter what it is you do, because they're looking for everybody from IT to CNC machinists. They're trying to find everybody as they continue to get bigger and better. And again, manufacturing hydrodynamic bearings for the power generation industry here today. MIBA Industrial Bearings, stronger together. Search them on Indeed.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
We are now open in Madison. Stand by for details on how much it costs to borrow $1,000 from Dollar Loan Center. We offer signature loans up to $5,000 in minutes, and you don't need great credit or collateral. No checking account required, no application fees, and you only pay interest for the time you have the loan out. So if you need $1,000, it'll only cost you $7.56 per day. You can keep it out for a week, a month, a year. That's up to you. For new customers, the first week's interest is even on us. Give DLC a shot. You'll be glad you did. Visit us in Madison or Beloit, and DLC is now open in Janesville, Beaver Dam, and coming soon to Sun Prairie.
Licensed and regulated by the Wisconsin Department of Financial Institutions. New enough based on biweekly pay frequency with annual percentage rate of 275%. For additional cost information, call 866-550-4352. Subject to approval, limitations may apply. See website for details.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program, the Bill Michaels Show. How we looking? Getting ready for the ride home. It is September 3rd through the 6th. It's going to take place in Milwaukee, mainly down at the Harley Museum. And it's going to be fantastic. The weekend is going to be just awesome. Awesome. Can't wait. Really looking forward to it. Lita Ford is going to be playing down there, one of the musical acts, from what I understand. And, God, it's what else? Lita Ford plays on Thursday night. Colt Ford plays on Friday night. There's going to be Noise Pollution down there with the Hippies and the Cowboys on Saturday night. And then Sunday is the Big Unit Poker Run, and that is fantastic. Our 19th annual. There's going to be Motor is going to be open. The HD factory outlet sale is going to be going on for us. They're going to have the Urias Family Globe of Death down there where people ride inside the metal globe. They've got all kinds of things happening, but we are really excited to be a part of it. We're going to be down there on the stage doing a lot of MC work on the stage Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, getting everybody ready for the event that's going to take place on Sunday. Really looking forward to the ride home coming up Labor Day weekend down at the Harley-Davidson Museum on Canal Street in Milwaukee. So so excited for all of this, and so excited that we're going to be a part of it. And they've asked us to do so much. Myself, Jesse James Dupree from the band Jackal, Lita Ford, everybody's going to be down there on stage coming up that Thursday night. So really, really excited for all of that. So thanks to everybody involved. But it's the ride home. We're calling it the ride home. So get ready. Get ready. If you got a motorcycle and you're anywhere in the sound of my voice, everybody goes to Sturgis. We're going to be out there. Then we're all coming back. Everybody's kind of get on your bike, get in your trailers, everything, and come on back. Follow us all the way back to Wisconsin for that rest week in between Sturgis and then the ride home. And then we get into that Labor Day weekend. Can't wait. Can't wait. Looking forward to it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Hit us up if you choose to do so. We would love to hear from you. Also, you can text us 608-321-1670, 608-321-1670. I'm going to get to the text line coming up here momentarily. You can also, over there on many different platforms, find us. YouTube. Go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. On Twitter, on X, @Bill_Michaels. Or find Grant @Wisco Grant. Find our app on that platform @Wisco Sports Zone. Wisco Sports Zone. Email the program, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. Thebillmichaels.com is the website. We're on Facebook. We're on TikTok. We're on Instagram as well. Under The Bill Michaels Show, same thing on the Twitch app, the Kick app, the LinkedIn app. And you can also catch our television show Saturday nights, 8 o'clock Central Time in Milwaukee. Saturday night, 8 o'clock Central Time in Milwaukee on My 24 TV. That is My 24 TV. Same names as kind of last year, sitting at the trade deadline. Now, interesting, when you start to look at the names that are kind of available by the teams that are considered to be somewhat out of it, okay? Who's available? Now, we're talking about a bat. By the way, Skubal is the number one sought-after trade, arm, okay, of the Tigers. Him and Casey Mize Both of those guys look to be possibly on the trading block. They're saying that the best fit is going to be the Braves. They're probably going to give up the most for Skubal. The Blue Jays possibly going after Mize. Then you kind of go through it. And then what's interesting is Freddie Peralta is already rumored to be on the trade block. And you know who's very quietly, I guess, starting to make a little bit of noise behind the scenes for Freddie Peralta's services? That would be Craig Counsell and the Chicago Cubs. So it looks like Freddie Peralta, if indeed now this all pans out, could go from Milwaukee to New York to then back in to the Central, but this time to the team south. The Cubs, and Clay Holmes is the other one, the starting pitcher for the Mets. The Phillies have some interest in him apparently. But yeah, Freddie Peralta being looked at kind of over that fence, being reunited with Craig Counsell and possibly the Chicago Cubs to try to come back and hurt his old ball club. Now, you start to go through this and you're thinking, who are the bats that are available? That would be infield players. Infield players. And you're kind of like, you know what? You got Luis Arraez from the Giants, but he's a second baseman. So you're not going to go after that. The only
also no power, if that's what you're
no
at.
power.
He's more Sal Frelick than Sal Frelick himself. He's just another slap hitter. A good one.
Exactly. He's another hitter.
Giving you kind of what you're lacking.
100%. The only guy that's out there is Eugenio Suarez from the Reds. That's it. That you would consider to be a third baseman that gives you a little bit of power. And he could be traded for the second straight time at the deadline. It didn't work out so well for Seattle last year. We know that. And offers, that right time power at a time when righty power is in short supply. And that would be about the best bat that's available. Would you want Eugenio Suarez, who went to Seattle and really didn't do too much? Now, maybe it's a little bit different in the Brewers organization. We know that there's culture that plays a part of this and comfort and, playing in the National League Central and getting a chance to play at American Family Field, which can be a bandbox at times. The same thing with Wrigley and such, because really the games with the Reds are almost nil at this point because they play those 7 games in that short span already. But would that be a guy, Eugenio Suarez? Because really, when you start to look at it, that's kind of it. There's not a whole lot of anybody with an infield bat prowess that's out there that you can see. So would that be a guy that you would want? And again, like I said, it's not like you're going to face Cincinnati a ton. You only have 6 games left with them. And only 3 of them at Great American Ballpark. But you got, 7 games, I think, left with the Cubs this season yet? I think, if I'm not mistaken.
That sounds right. Probably 2 more
and
series.
you still got to go to L.A. You still got 4-game series in L.A. you got to go play. But is that something? And don't forget that at the end of the season, you end at home with that 3. It could be important. Who knows? But you end with that 3-game series against St. Louis. And down the stretch in September, starting in September, you got 4 with the Cubs at Wrigley, 3 with Cincinnati at Cincinnati. This is just in September. Then you come back home and play the Cubs, back home and play the Reds, on the road and play Pittsburgh. You get 3 on the road against Baltimore before you go to Philadelphia. You got a long road trip, a 9-game road trip to pretty much end your season. And then the last 3 games of the season, oh, by the way, you're at home against St. Louis. So a lot of National League Central teams that you're going to be facing them at Wrigley, at Great American, and at PNC. All places where power, especially that time of year, if it's warm, is beneficial. Would Eugenio Suarez be a guy that you would be interested in? So 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. But that's the only guy. Unless, obviously there's going to be other, players that can become hot or talked about. But that's kind of it. Most of the players right now that are being listed are either outfielders or starting or relief pitchers. It's all pretty much all about the arms. Pretty much all about the arms. Yeah, Kurt says, what about Sonny Gray? I heard the Red Sox want to get rid of him. The Red Sox are pretty much selling on everybody at this point.
Sonny Gray's been good.
Yeah.
Some team could get a nice nifty start. The thing is well, I think what people need to remember is, well, Sonny Gray, he's not special. He's just a nice solid pitcher. So he won't cost a lot. Those are the guys that do cost a lot at the deadline. Because there's way fewer sellers now than ever before because there's more playoff teams. And it's expensive even for the guys you won't think would be expensive. And Sonny Gray's a good example of that.
I think they're looking for Aroldis Chapman. They're looking for Sonny Gray. And I think they're going to test the market on Contreras. I think that's another guy. That would be another guy. And maybe Bello. But Sonny Gray definitely he's and again, he's got a full no trade clause too. So he can pick and choose where he wants to go as to whether or not he wants to come to a place like Milwaukee. But Sonny Gray's another guy. Scooble, Sonny Gray, a couple of those established veterans. But would that be a guy you'd want to go after if you want to go after that other arm? So 877-867-1670. Hit us up. We'd love to talk to you about it. 877-867-1670. Find us. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at All Nations Solar Electric. We've talked about it time and again. Greg is the master electrician over there. It's got it going on. And if you're looking for somebody, if you got a switch that isn't working, maybe when you flip the lights on, they're flickering. You're like, I wonder if my house is going to burn down. Or you got a rewire coming up, maybe a room you're going to add something to. Maybe you want to put a hot tub in. You got to run some electric outside. Whatever it is, Greg is the master electrician. If you are in the Fox Valley and northeastern portion of Wisconsin, that's the guy to call. Call our guy Greg, 920-661-7577, 920-661-7577, 920-661-7577, or they have a website, as many people do, allnationssolar.electric.com. Put them all together, allnationssolar.electric.com, and they obviously do solar. It's right there in their name. You can do that as well and get you the tax credits along with that. Greg is the master over there, 920-661-7577, or allnationssolar.electric.com.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Phil Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Joe Michaels Show. Glad you're on with us. Certainly appreciate you hanging out as always. We're not done with race season by any stretch of the imagination in the state of Wisconsin. We have got again this year IndyCars coming back to the Milwaukee Mile, which is exciting. And a guy that just left here not that long ago was racing up at Road America and really performed well at Mid Ohio, and getting ready to talk a little bit about and maybe defending the victory from the 2025 Snap-on race that they had out there at the Mile. Christian Rasmussen is joining us on the hotline. Christian, how you doing?
Good, Ben. How are you?
We are doing incredibly well. It is a vastly different race going from Road America to the Milwaukee Mile, isn't it?
Yeah, it is definitely quite different.
So, first of all, give me your impressions of Road America. And I mean, obviously, it didn't end the way you wanted, but being able to race at that track, that road course that has so much elevation, undulation, and so many twists and turns, and coming to the state of Wisconsin and racing like that, give me your thoughts on Road America first.
Yeah, well, first of all, I think the consistency is unmatched at Road America, so that's obviously the highlight.
That's awesome.
One of the driver favorite, and definitely a favorite of mine as well. Didn't have the best weekend there with a failure that took us out of the race, but still loved going there.
Then you come to a small track, the Milwaukee Mile. It is a flat track. It doesn't give you a lot of banking. It is a physically demanding track. Talk about, first of all, you won there, which is awesome. I mean, so obviously there's a little bit of place in your heart for being a favorite. So what makes that track so unique and so capable for you?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think the ovals has just generally been very good for us and very good for me in particular at ECR. Milwaukee Mile is quite special in the sense that it's a very flat oval, right? All the ovals that we go to have some sort of banking, which the mile has as well, but just way less. So it's in many ways it almost races a little bit like a street course in the way that it's so flat, it has bumps and so on and so forth. But yeah, like you said, the Milwaukee Mile has a special place in my heart, earning my first victory in IndyCar there last year, and looking forward to go back there and try and defend that win. We got 2 chances at it.
Last year, you kind of fought your way through the traffic to get there. Sometimes there's a little bit of luck. The drivers always want to believe that they're the ones that get you there, but it's got to be a total team effort and a car setup effort, right? Because the cars have to be right to not be able to endure a bank like that really isn't in a short oval track like Milwaukee Mile is.
Yeah, it's definitely a team effort, and there was many things that went into us being able to pull off a victory there last year. Like you say, like car setup is super important. The driving aspect obviously makes a little bit of a difference as well. And then strategy. I think we did the exact right thing. Towards the end of the race, going on to onto new tires and having a tire advantage against those top 2 guys that we were overtaken to lead the race. So many things went into it, and it ended exactly how it was supposed to.
Do you kind of feel like you're starting to hit your stride? You had a really successful weekend at Mid-Ohio. You raced extremely well. You timed extremely well. You ended up, I think, 5th place, to start the race. Does it seem like things are starting to kind of come together for you?
Yeah, it is. I think even at Road America, we were actually having a decent race. We've had a very tough season with a lot of stuff that's been out of our control that has kind of dictated us not finishing a lot of races this year, which has been unfortunate. But we've still had, some good showings and have brought some fast race cars to the tracks. So definitely finishing a race at Mid-Ohio feels good. And then, going into a stretch of the year where we have a lot of tracks where we know we're going to be strong. It's definitely exciting.
Yeah, it's got to have a level of frustration when you put a lot into the car, you get a pretty good start, and the next thing you know, you're taken out by something that's really not within your control, whether it's a crash in front of you or somebody bumps you or, it's just something that's, like you said, out of your control that all of a sudden you find yourself running really good, but all of a sudden you're out of a race.
Yeah, for sure. It's frustrating, but again, it's also part of racing, you know. Yeah. All of us in IndyCar have been doing this for a long time, and we just, that's just part of it. So it wasn't the first. It definitely won't be the last, but it doesn't make it less frustrating for sure.
I got to ask you, everybody at the beginning of the season, they were talking about Pato O'Ward and everything that he had going on, and Alex Palou. And Alex Palou is still very, very good, leading the points and such. But there is a vulnerability there. I mean, between him, Kirkwood, Lundgaard, Malukas, obviously, there's still some vulnerability. Those guys can be gotten, right?
Oh, for sure. Championship fight is over for us. With the year we've had, it's definitely not in the game for us. But we're just going to go out and focus on doing as many good races as we can. And trying to pull off some wins. We know that we can do that at the Milwaukee Mile, for example. I think Nashville could be very good for us as well. So we have some strong tracks coming up. So for us, it's just going to be out trying to stack some victories here towards the end of the year.
You'd like to be that thorn in their side, just kind of have a couple of good races, really good races down the stretch. You take a couple of points yourself, you end on a high note and get right back at it in the offseason to go again next year. It's the Snap-on Milwaukee Mile 250, August 23rd through the 24th. It's obviously in West Allis at the State Fair Park. Christian, best of luck to you again this year. If you can go back-to-back, man, that'd be fantastic. Give us a little mojo when you take the trophy, and we'll see you out there at the racetrack, okay?
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. It's coming up in Milwaukee. The IndyCar is coming back August 23rd through the 24th. And Christian Rasmussen won that thing last year. And if you've never seen IndyCar run, I've always said, look, if you're going to get tickets up high, sit up to bring an umbrella, especially if it's a really sunny day because you're sitting out there with no shade. Bring an umbrella, sit up high, and you can see the entire track from up top. It is awesome. And racing at the mile is always fun. And it's vintage, it's old Milwaukee mile racing, the old stands, the old bleachers and the concessions that are underneath, and they make it like a festival, and Leadfoot's and everybody is open, and all the different brew pubs right there on the backside of the State Fair Park area. It's just awesome. It's awesome. If you get a chance to go out there, I think they're actually doing some testing there this week as well, if I'm not mistaken. But the Snap-on 250 coming to the Milwaukee Mile August 23rd through the 24th. And if you don't have tickets, get your tickets now. That should be a lot of fun. It's always a lot of fun whenever you get out the mile and catch racing up close and personal. I was introduced to it when IndyCar was coming and kart was coming back in the day when there was the split between the two. When I first got here, and they were just renovating the Milwaukee Mile at that point. And since then, they've done so much to it, and it's so cool just to see that old track to come to life all over again. It's just such a cool deal. But good to talk to Christian Rasmussen, the IndyCar driver, for just a little bit. Let's do this. We'll step out. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. A lot more to get to. Don't go anywhere. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Swallow my pride, I would choke on the rhymes, but the lack thereof running in me inside. I would swallow my doubt, turn it inside out. got nothing but faith in nothing.
Welcome back, Bill Michaels Show. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at J&L Tire and Service Center. Say hi to Lyle and Chad and everybody when you stop in. And it doesn't matter if you need an oil change, tires, brakes, engine repair. It doesn't matter if you're driving a minivan or an 18-wheeler. They've got the facilities for everybody. They're right there off the 94th at Johnson Creek exit. And they actually have another location. It's on Boulder Road in Watertown, Wisconsin. So right off the 94th at Johnson Creek exit, just north of the exit. You can see them right there, or on Boulder Road in Watertown, but they can get you going. And if you're an over-the-road driver, that is a great place to stop and great friends to make because they can help you out and really take care of you. Again, that's J&L Tire and Service Center, voted the best tire dealer out there by you. Years, and I can say 2-3 years in a row now, but they've just been that good for that long and very trustworthy, very philanthropic in the community. They do a lot of great work for families, for children and such. So if you're looking for a great group of people to work with, boy, that's the people to go to. J&L Tire and Service Center. That is jnltire.com. That is jnltire.com. Good stuff. Good stuff. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to give us a shout. What else do we say here? Let's see here. We got a couple of things. This is from Mark. Mark says, I've been hearing the rumors about Freddie Peralta and the Chicago Cubs for a little while now. How hot do you think those talks actually get? Well, there's a lot of speculation that's out there. I don't think, and again, it's nothing that's been secretive. I'm not saying it's that. I'm just saying the rumors are not, how do I put this? It's not like it's everyday front page news. They're rumors. They're rumors. They come from, different writers and things like that they could be looking over that fence. But it makes sense because Freddie Peralta has been a starter. And when he's on, he's on. The problem is he does kind of put pressure on your bullpen. He's not a guy that's going to go deep into ball games, not on a consistent level anyway. So, yeah, I mean, that would be, again, he's got a familiarity with Craig Counsell. He knows what he can do. And if you want to add another guy to that rotation, that would be an arm to get. I can see that happening. So, yeah, why not, right? Why not? 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. I got some text messages to get to. Out of the 715, Brewers need just one more win in at least the last 7 games to have their most ever at the All-Star break. Had 56 last season. One more win would also guarantee the best win percentage at the break. The 1979 club is the best at 54-38. That's who else? That's out of the 715. Been hearing. Out of the 920, I've been on vacation for the past couple of weeks. Being back and working is the dregs, but hearing your voice and the show on my lunch break just makes things so much better about being home. Well, there you go. Appreciate that. You can always take us with you on vacation. Just so you know. Blaine and Augusta here. The Brewers have been great at developing players in the farm system with one exception, no big bats. We have great pitching, speedy base runners, strong defense, and smart at-bats from a high average hitter. Now, I hope the Brewers scouts concentrate on some bombers as a part of the strategy. Just one power hitter more in the middle of that lineup would be huge out of the 715. I agree.
I think they developed Churio. I think at the major league level, they've developed Terang. I also think, and maybe the emailer was implying this, it's the kind of guys they target.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like Lara's another high floor defense glove first guy with great bat to ball skills. Now, Andrew Fisher, who's been in Double-A now for a couple of weeks, just hits home runs, one after another. They do have a couple of those guys in the system.
Just not ready to come up.
Not ready right now. And who knows if they'll make it, right? But that's mostly just not the type of player they prioritize drafting.
Cindy in Madison says, totally agree about Christian Yelich. They need to sit him. He is not doing the team any favors right now. At minimum, they get somebody to bat for him. He has been absolutely horrible as of late. I agree. There is something definitely wrong with him, and nobody is saying anything. But at this point, he is really just hurting the team when we need solid hits. Out of the 920, hip, hip, hooray. Brewers calling up Luis Lara. What else do we have here? Rich in Appleton says, are the Brewers hitting coaches doing their job? Right now, I think not. Thoughts? Vogelbach, not sure he's doing the job. This is what drives me a little bit nuts about hitting coaches is they'll take a beating for when guys aren't hitting. But in the grand scheme of things, would you then say he's doing his job with Jake Bauers? He's doing his job with Churio. He's doing his job with Terang, Contreras, Mitchell. All of those guys are hitting. I mean, those guys are, first of all, the first three that I mentioned are your three leading hitters when it comes to hitting the long ball. But, I mean, certainly Sal Frelick has turned his season around. Sal Frelick went from 219 to 242 and has been just beating the hell out of the baseball. So, I mean, Andrew Vaughn is hitting 328 on the season. Now, you can say, okay, Blake Perkins certainly. And what do you do with a guy like Christian Yelich? When you look at a veteran like that that's been in the league for so many years, and he's been able to do it in the past, you look at his career numbers, right? And you look at when he was playing with Miami and how good he was, and then he comes to Milwaukee, and the next thing you know, he's powering the ball out of the ballpark. 36 homers his first year, 44 in 2019. He can do it. 29 last year. He kind of turned things around and 29 home runs when I'd said for a long time he's not going to get past 20. He hit 44 in 2019, and after that it was 12, 9, 14, 19, 11. And I said, I don't think he's going to get past 20 again. And then last year he blew past that number, hit 29 dingers. And now all of a sudden he's back in 264. The year before that, even though he only had 11 home runs, he hit 315 in a shortened period of time, of course. He was batting 278 the year before, then 252 the year before that, when, again, there was some injury issues. But this year, seemingly, for the most part, he's been healthy. There's only been one stint where they kind of sat him for a little period of time. You just can't figure it out. But what do you say to a veteran that has been there, done that so many times? That's the tough thing. And you've still got seasons of money wrapped up in him. Now, you only have after this, you got 3 seasons after this that you got to pay that contract, but you still have 3 seasons after this that you got to pay that contract. 877-867-1670. But I get it. I get where you're at. This is from Mark. Mark says, I think that right now they're pushing all the buttons they can possibly push. The problem is you're running out of buttons to push. There's only so many buttons this team can actually shove into the lineup that have marginal power at best. There is no true power hitter on this team. Let's just face it. This is the way they're going to go into the postseason. I don't see them giving up a lot of the low-end talent or even high-end talent in the minor league system to go after a rental player for a short period of time. I don't either. Not unless you're going to get a controllable guy. I just don't see them doing that. Maybe, now again, your statement about low-end talent, I don't know what you consider to be low-end talent. But if there's a guy in the system and they're stockpiled somewhere, and this guy's probably the lowest hanging fruit, maybe. If you've got 5 shortstops and 4 of them are really good, you give up your 5th. Okay. Not going to kill you, not going to hurt you. But it would not shock me if they made a move in that sense. But you're not going to get, a top-end bat for that. Not going to happen. And then the whole thing, and Brad brings up a good point. He said, you can talk about Suarez possibly coming to the Milwaukee Brewers, but would the Reds really trade him in the division? And would the Brewers trade away some of their high-end talent to get Suarez in the division, only to have it come back and bite them years later? Probably not. You don't do a lot of deals in your division. That's the only infield guy that's got, pop that you have an opening for at third base. That's what I was looking for, was third base. Maybe an outfielder, but again, where unless you get just one high-end hitting power hitter that plays, say, right field, then maybe you move guys around. But I don't think that's going to happen either. I don't think you're going to pull your own guys out of the lineup. We got another hour yet to go. We got a lot happening. So this is what's coming up. Going to hear a little bit from Giannis. Giannis, everything is now official. Yesterday, officially, the NBA new season starts, and you're allowed to sign the players and make everything official. So that is now a done deal. Giannis had some things to say. We're going to hear from Giannis. Going to hear from Chuck Freimund from the Locked On Brewers podcast. Is the Brewers making a few moves, in case you did not know today? So we got all of that coming up. Stay tuned. We got another hour of the Bill Michaels Show. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Brewers and Cardinals going to play a doubleheader today after the Crew took the first game of 5 last night with a comeback 4-3 victory. Milwaukee scored all 4 of the runs in the 7th inning, highlighted by a 2-run single from Bryce Terang to take the lead. It left the Brewers lead in the NL Central at 6.5 games on Chicago. The first game this afternoon going to feature Jacob Mizrowski on the mound for the Crew. First pitch at 1:15. Turning to the Bucks, they made the trade of Giannis Antetokounmpo official yesterday. It ended his 13 years in Milwaukee that featured 2 MVPs and the franchise's first championship in 50 years back in 2021. The good times outweighed the bad during his tenure, and Giannis believes those highs going to be how he's remembered as opposed to how he left.
Hopefully when people see me and think about me, to think about the things that I've done for the team and things that I've done for the city and how I carried myself and how I grew in this city, and hopefully they remember, those moments.
GM John Horst expected to speak with reporters this afternoon about the trade and the reasoning behind it.
Shopping for new windows and doors shouldn't feel like a negotiation. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin doesn't believe in games. They never inflate pricing, and there's no high-pressure sales pitch. Just premium windows and doors built for long-term comfort, beauty, and peace of mind. Buy direct through Pella, and one trusted team handles everything with Pella-certified installers every step of the way. Real pricing, premium quality, no games. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Schedule your free in-home consultation today at PellaWI.com.
Wisconsin officially introducing new athletic director Sean Eichhorst this afternoon in Madison. They are holding an event inside Camp Randall Stadium for donors and then a press conference with reporters afterwards. Eichhorst comes from being the Texas deputy athletic director and returns to Wisconsin, where he spent 5 years in the mid-2000s as part of former AD Barry Alvarez's administration. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
Bill Michaels Show, how we looking? Thanks for joining us. Brewers back at it this afternoon. Day game, then night game, doubleheader, all that kind of good stuff. Getting ready to happen. Yes. Excited. I'm hoping the Brewers can pull this off. Get themselves a hell of a win. Kind of move on after that. That'd be huge. Be huge. Good stuff. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. If you want to give us a shout, please feel free. Go ahead and do so. 877-867-1670. 608-321-1670. 608-321-1670. You can find us, and we certainly appreciate you hanging out with us and doing it that way. You can also track us down via the social media platforms, which is also a great way to kind of find us. You can find us over there on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, all that kind of good stuff. And you can track us down, The Bill Michaels Show, in those facets. Also, we have our own app, which our app is awesome. Our app is just awesome. So if you haven't used our app yet, Wisco Sports Zone. That's Wisco Sports Zone. And you put all the words together there. You can download it. And next thing you know, bam, there you have it. And you've got us anywhere and everywhere. You can take us all over the place. So appreciate that. Also, you can find Grant at Wisco Grant. You can find me at Bill_Michaels, at Bill_Michaels. So there's just plenty of ways to get a hold of the program if you should choose to do so. So looking forward to all of that. Very much so. What else do we have here for you? We got a lot of different stuff happening. Trying to see here. There we go. I'm just going through some. I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't have done it while I'm on the air, but I'm just kind of going through. There's a lot of emails coming in, and I wanted to get to some of them. And I'm seeing some of them pertain to things that we were discussing. Some of them are just kind of outside the line. We were talking about, who may or may not be on the trade block, and the only guy that's got any kind of power that would be playing an infield position on, say, a corner like third base is Suarez. And Suarez has not even been that great this year. He didn't play well for Seattle last year coming out of Arizona. So, and again, that's not a guy that now. There's not to say that he couldn't still be somewhat of a threat in the lineup. Let's be honest, Cincinnati's not that great of a lineup. So maybe he gets better in this lineup. Who knows? But if indeed they would go to that, I just don't think they're going to do that. So it's just a name that's out there. I just thought I'd throw it out because everybody always mentions it. And I figured I'd also be somebody that would kind of throw it into the mix as well. So there you go. 877-867-1670. This is from Ryan. Ryan says, hey guys, let's be honest. Let's really say what Matt Arnold's going to do. He's probably going to get an arm that not a lot of people have heard of, or maybe a mid-level arm just to bolster the rotation, whether it's through the bullpen or through the starting rotation itself. And that's going to be about it. They're going to rely on the young guys to come up, maybe give you a little power, maybe give you some really good defense and a little bit of pop, but more so than anything, they rely on base percentage. This is where the team has to be great in the postseason about working the count, taking pitches. And when you get an aggressive pitcher like the Dodgers did to them last year, you have to be able to grip it and rip it. And this team certainly wasn't capable of doing that last year. Maybe this year will be different because you live and learn. And that is from Ryan. Ryan listening to us over in the Twin Cities as a Brewers fan in the Twin Cities, he says. So good stuff. Thank you very much, Ryan. Appreciate it. What else do we have here? This is from Mark. Mark's got a long-time listener, 68 years old, up and down Wisconsin sports over the years. We are the go-to source for all things Wisconsin sports. He goes on from there. He talks about Fickell needing 7 to 8 wins. The Packers, he said he wanted LaFleur's termination last season. To me, the glass is half empty, but holding on to hope that they developed the killer instinct the 96 team had. The Bucks, after reading Jim O's article on the Bucks, it goes and sounds like enough dysfunction from the top with the players. So it was time to get rid of Giannis. Didn't want to talk to Jerry Kramer years back, asked him about Green Bay practice to defend the title. He simply said practices were tougher and Lombardi was even more demanding than during the games. And then he says, I just got back from an extended holiday weekend across Mississippi and Minnesota. Lacrosse was only 15 minutes away, so stopped at Buzzer Billy's. Was in order since there was a 40-minute wait. We went up to the Starlight Lounge for a Chocotini, got 2 sips in, and our table was ready. Sat in the window, watched life go by until dinner arrived. The beer cheese soup was the appetizer, and the blackened chicken shrimp was the main course. To borrow your quote, oh my God, it was so good. We then went to the Pearl Street ice cream shop across the street, like you watching my diet, but that got blown way up. All was good. Hope to visit the Calderon Club sometime soon. Anyway, keep doing what you're doing, keeping us accurately informed on Wisconsin sports. That is from Mark. Mark, appreciate it. That's great that you got a chance to go to Buzzer Billy's. That's awesome. That's great. That right there is a commercial for them. That's good stuff. Our buddy Steve says, I looked it up, and the Brewers' contract with Yelly goes through 2030. Yes, I know he is not producing much right now, but the Brewers will not cut ties with him. I also believe that he has a no-trade clause. I think it may be time to move him down in the order and perhaps play only 21 out of 3 games until he finds his stroke. Playing only 21 out of 3 games or you mean 2 out of 3 games until he finds a stroke. Looking forward to Lara coming up. Maybe having him up with Pratt may help Pratt a little bit as to bring up one of his guys. Your thoughts? Sometimes that works. Sometimes you get a buddy from down in the minors that comes up with you, and all of a sudden you got somebody that can kind of relate to you. You know, you're not just sitting there with the big leaguers and you're struggling so hard and you're like, oh God, I'm pressing because these guys are expecting something out of me. And I'm this paid young guy, this young gun that's supposed to come up and all of a sudden be the next, end all be all. And I'm not getting it done. And now you got another guy that's coming up that maybe takes a little pressure off of you. Guys can bounce ideas off of one another. You can feel a little bit better about it. So there you go. There you go. What else do we have here? This is from Art. Oh, Art's talking about the Minnesota Vikings and going back to our conversation with Thor Nystrom from Score North. Appreciate it. Thanks so much. And good interview he talks about and all that kind of stuff. So thank you very much. 877-867-1670, 1670. Also, in case you have not heard, Giannis. Now, we're going to talk with Chuck Freimund coming up here next. But, Giannis, you got a couple of words from Giannis because Giannis is now officially part of the Miami Heat organization.
So here's what I have, and we can play. I have 3 cuts. I have part 1 and part 2 of the video that he posted as a thank you. So it's his narration, kind of thanking Milwaukee. We can listen to that. Let's do that first, and then I have a back and forth he did with Jim Paschke that I thought was very interesting. But I'll play the first part here. They're about a minute each. This is the first half of Giannis's video that he posted as a tribute and a thank you to Milwaukee.
The city of Milwaukee and the state of Wisconsin. I want them to remember this for me. Don't worry about the basket. Don't worry about the championship. Don't worry about the winnings. Don't worry about the losses. I try to be like them.
We're going to take an iconic selfie video so I can watch it. I can watch for the rest of my life and remember this day. Can we do that? Let's do that. Come on.
I believe the city of Milwaukee is blue collar. It's people that work extremely hard every single day. We give them all the hard-earned money to come watch the Milwaukee Bucks. To come and feel something. To come to be a part of us. I hope that I was able to represent them the best that I could. And I was like them. I showed up to work, did everything that I was willing to do, all the dirty work, just like them.
Okay, so that's the first half. Do you have a reaction to that before we do half number 2?
First of all, you really got to listen because he's got a little bit of a broken accent. I look at it this way. He is, and just my guy who I've talked about, and you know who he is, Grant. My guy in the Bucks organization said it was very, very, very hard when the reality set in that Giannis is no longer going to be a Milwaukee Buck. He said he took it really hard. Like it was time to go. He was excited. He's excited for the new opportunity, blah, blah, blah. But he said it was really hard for him to leave here and to think that Milwaukee it's always going to be his home, but it's not going to be his home for the next basketball season because it's all he's ever known. That I wonder, he's had a week to put this piece together through his people. But you can hear it in his voice when he talks about Milwaukee and about Bucks basketball. That's ingrained in him. It's going to be a very unique challenge for him to kind of shed all the emotions and then go play for another team. It's not easy to do. I've talked to people that have been traded before. I've talked to many players. But my first reaction to that, without all the accolades and take everything out of it, you can hear it in his voice. It's hard it's an emotional thing for him to be leaving Milwaukee and to say thank you to Milwaukee. That's my first reaction when I heard that.
I would agree with that. You'll hear more about that. He talked about that with Jim Paschke. Here's part number 2 before we get there.
I hope that bringing the trophy to this city meant something to them because it meant so much to me.
Milwaukee, we did it, baby. We did it.
I want you to hear it from my mouth. The city of Milwaukee will always be in my heart. This is my home, and this is a place that I had my kids. My mom is here, my father is here, my brothers played here. They made me the man that I am today. That will never, ever change. No matter where I am, Milwaukee will always be my city, my team, my family.
With the 15th pick, the Milwaukee Bucks select Giannis Antetokounmpo from Athens, Greece.
So that's how it ended. Nice video.
So, yeah.
The visuals add to it too, but you can hear Giannis's words in there at least.
That's really cool. That's really
well
cool.
done.
Yeah. Yeah. Very well done.
So I have here, this is Giannis and Jim Paschke. They did a sit down. It's in a gym. It looks like maybe somewhere in the Bucks facility or somewhere around. I don't know. Might be in Giannis's house. And you'll hear him talking about how it wasn't an easy decision for him to leave. Like right. It's not without risk. It's not without worry. And it's funny, Giannis has wind pants on and he's kind of rubbing it, so you'll hear like a little probably not the best audio,
right?
But you'll hear this back and forth with Paschke. I think this is good.
The only thing when I take my showers at night, and I think I'm like, maybe I've waited too long, and I see guys playing deep into the playoffs, and I think I'm like, okay, maybe if I switch teams and I go somewhere else and have a better opportunity, I can play deep in the playoffs. I can go try to chase another championship because I really want that. And I'm scared that maybe if I don't take that decision, that when I'm going to be 37, 38 years old, hopefully, and I'm retiring, I'm going to say, why you didn't take that risk? And people don't understand it's a risk.
It's a difficult place to be.
Yeah.
I would say that you could always come home.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
You've earned that. You'll always be welcomed here.
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome if I can go and play and maybe come back. Kevin Garnett did the same thing. I saw this clip of him walking into the arena and they gave him a standing ovation, and people till this day love him. And some people don't always.
They always will.
Yeah.
You've earned that. They won't take that away from you.
And that's true. Jim is very, very correct in saying that he didn't leave dropping the MF bomb on the way out the door. He didn't leave, giving the middle finger to Milwaukee or anything like that. He said all the right things publicly. We know behind the scenes now it was dysfunctional. There was problems. We know it was probably best for both sides to move on. He's right there on the cusp health-wise from a big man standpoint in the NBA. Like, he's right there, but how long is he going to last? I get it all. There's no hard feelings with Giannis leaving. I ask sometimes why. Look, if you take less money, you could probably put more people around you. That I'll never understand from any dominant athlete. When they want to win and they want all the money, it's very difficult. But other than that, I'm like, why would anybody be mad at Giannis? You know what I mean?
Yeah, he was very intentional, I think, maybe to his own detriment on his way out the door, to not have any bad pub and to not be a good, because I think Giannis wanted to be out last summer, right? He was unhappy last summer, and the Bucks really worked hard to keep him. And I think if Giannis goes public in a way that we've seen other athletes, he may have been traded last summer. Yeah. And that may have been better for him. He may have ended up in a better spot than he is now. So I think Giannis, even to his own detriment, went out of his way to not be the bad guy, even though it may at a certain point have been in his best interest. So I'm with Paschke. He'll always be welcome back. I heard that as, hey, you're always welcome to come back here and visit and live. This will always be your home if you want it to be. I didn't hear that as some fans did. It's like, well, when you're done playing with the Heat, you can come back here and play more.
Right.
Maybe a one-day retirement thing or something like that.
He's not going to come back here and play unless it's a one-hit wonder down there. And he says, no, I want to go back to Milwaukee, make a trade. But, other than that, I agree with you. Let's do this. We got a couple of segments. Chuck Freimund. We're going to talk some Brewers baseball when we come back, so don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up. This portion of it brought to you by our friends at Burn. It's grilling season, baby. It's grilling season year-round. But BurnPitBBQ.com. That is BurnPitBBQ.com. Look for them in Walmart. They're at the Meijer stores and all that kind of good stuff as well. But you have made them great because they continue to grow. They are a veteran-based organization right here in the state of Wisconsin. Racine, Wisconsin. BurnPitBBQ.com. Hot sauces, rubs. They've got the regular barbecue sauces, all different flavors. Whatever your taste is, they've got something for everybody. BurnPitBBQ.com. That is BurnPitBBQ.com.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
We're here with Chuck, founder of Dollar Loan Center. Why is it so important for Madison customers to deal with a licensed, regulated, direct lender?
A lot of lenders may look legit, but they are not, especially online. Borrowers need to be careful to deal with lenders who are licensed and regulated by the state of Wisconsin, who really lend their own money and aren't just lead generators.
And Dollar Loan Center is a direct lender?
Yeah, we've been around 28 years, Wisconsin licensed, and I actually lend my own money. We are extremely transparent, fair, and always guarantee guarantee to beat the rate of our competition. And our customers' Bill of Rights is in writing at don'tbebroke.com, and we never charge to apply.
Dollar Loan Center loves Madison and lends up to $5,000 in minutes. Stop by in Janesville, Beloit, Beaver Dam, and coming soon to Sun Prairie. You can also apply over the phone or online at don'tbebroke.com.
Licensed and regulated by the Wisconsin Department of Financial Institutions. Subject to approval, limitations may apply. See website for details.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Woodruff had 2 solid starts prior to this since coming off the injured list. And tonight he gave up the 3-run home run in the first inning, but the velo started to drop, and the trainer came out and got him in the 4th inning and finished off Woodruff's night. Boy, you could have such an awesome front 3 in this rotation with Mizorowski, Harrison, and Woodruff. If Woodruff, it's been a tough 2 years. And yeah, that $22 million that they spent on him for this year, it's looking like a bad signing. Not any fault of him at all. He just can't stay healthy.
It's not his fault. It's just body with that shoulder issue flares up. And unfortunately, Woodruff now is going to have to take some time, let the inflammation go down, and then you kind of wait and see what happens after that. Hamilton last night with some stiffness in the hamstring area, so he ends up, leaving the ball game, which you kind of thought to yourself, oh my God, you can't have this stuff continually roll downhill. In the meantime, today, at least you don't see Hamilton on the injury report, like going to the IL. Luis Lara, recalled from AAA Nashville. Blake Perkins optioned to Nashville, and the lefty Robert Gasser, he is now designated as the 27th man for the doubleheader today. So that's the way things stand right now for the Milwaukee Brewers. Joining us on our hotline, the voice that you just heard, our guy Chuck Freimund from the Locked On Brewers podcast, is joining us. Chucker, how you doing, pal?
Oh, Michaels, man, what a lot of news already this morning with the Milwaukee Brewers. Woodruff had two solid starts. Woodruff had two solid starts prior to this, since coming off the injury.
Nope, I think we lost Chuck. There we go. No Chuck. Okay, well, we'll try to get him back on. At some point. Anyway.
Did we lose Chuck?
We lost Chuck. Everything just died.
Oh, well, hold on. Let me get that restarted for you. I can fix that, I'm sure. It was over around the corner. Here, try this right.
You kind of understand that. The good news is that they did not, at least as of right now, as far as I know, Hamilton was not put on the IL. Maybe he was just sore or tight, and they just figured, okay, look, he'll be fine. It was just, no big deal. Stretch him out a little bit, he'll be fine. So at least that's good news that he didn't go down with an injury, and he's going to be out for an extended period of time.
Yeah, that is. But usually when you have some sort of hamstring injury like that you're going to go, and that was the indication that they were going to send him down and then bring somebody else up. But sounds like he's staying, and Perkins, who's just not been hitting, a favorite of Pat Murphy, but just not hitting. And now they bring up Lara, and Hamilton will continue to, obviously, I don't think he's probably playing today, but probably going to be on this roster going forward, and he's been productive. He had the 2-run double last night, but we'll see how that continues to go. I'm not completely sold that he's not going on the injury list just yet, but as for right now, he's not on the list.
So the whole thing with Woodruff, first of all, it's tough. I know people are just disgusted, and I listen to the over-the-top dramatic stuff that fans say. But look, when he's good and he's healthy, he's good. He's a good veteran pitcher. You don't just throw the baby out with the bathwater at this point. You kind of you send him down and you say, just take as long as you need to get ready. And then maybe get him back mid-September, a couple of starts, and then he can maybe work his way into the rotation come the postseason if indeed you need him or want to work him in that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that was the plan, Bill. In fact, I think from the very beginning, the plan was make sure he's healthy in September and October. Not that you were taking winning a division title already or going to the playoffs for granted, but you wanted him to be healthy, which he wasn't last year for the final couple of weeks of September and into the postseason. But you wanted him when he got stuck, and they got stuck with the $22 million. That's what it was. They got stuck with the $22 million on the option on that, and that he picked up, and that was offered to him. And you're hoping that's going to be the case. He's probably going to have to go through some of the same stuff he did for the last couple of months. We're going to have to rehab, make some minor league starts. I know he doesn't like doing it and all that, but this is where he is. Sadly for Woodruff, I think any thought of him getting a multi-year contract from anybody, this was going to be his year, Bill, and he thought he was going to establish himself once again as a front-line starter. Now, the numbers are still good. He's pitching well. He just can't stay healthy. And the old saying is that they say Green Bay, you can't make the club if you're in the top.
Right. Yeah, he is just a liability. He is going to be in and out of, I think, anybody's rotation at this point. So it's not going, like you said, not going to land him big money for a long-term deal. But it's going to keep him a job because when he is good, he's good and his numbers are good. And that's the reason I'm not willing to just kind of toss him to the side, because if you get to the postseason, and even if he gives you 6 or 7 starts in the postseason that are quality starts, he's as good as anybody, because the guy, even when he was throwing 75 miles an hour, he was still getting guys out. He still knows how to pitch.
Yeah, his ERA is under 3 in his starts that he's made this year. He's had 2 trips to the injured list, the velo is dropping, and you can't be throwing a guy in 85, a major league hitter, no matter how good the location is, 85 miles an hour. You're going to get crushed. So, but yeah, I still have faith he's probably still going to be up. Hopefully, be a part of this rotation. People have asked if he's going to be out of the bullpen. I don't see him, the Brewers using him out of the bullpen. I could see a situation where they would use him if he, again, he's got to go through, he's got to make his comeback again. He's got to get healthy again. That's number one. But when he does come back, if he does come back, maybe using an opener for him and then pitching him toward the middle innings. One of those things.
Would you see them saying, hey, look, we're going to send you down and you're just going to stay on an innings, count, so to speak, down in Nashville until we're ready to bring you up?
Well, I think that's obviously these guys at this stage of their life, and he's in his 30s, he doesn't want to go to Nashville. Obviously, they would go on the playing for the Timber Raptors and all that. They don't want to play in the minors. They'd rather just come up here and pitch some batting practice and live hitting and all that and get through it that way. Fortunately, that's not the way it works. He's going to probably have to need some of those. And I think as soon as he's ready, Bill, the Brewers are going to call him up because they still look at, as we've been talking here, he's still productive. But they're letting him, as they always have here in the last several months in year, let him go on his pace. They're not rushing him. They're not hurrying up the process. They might have done that with Devin Williams a couple of years ago, and he got ticked off at the organization, and he had kind of a chip on his shoulder. They're not doing that with Woodruff.
Yeah. I guess my next question is, do they know it's just inflammation? It's not like there's bodies floating around in there and he's going to need surgery or anything like this. This is just inflammation that's irritated from the surgery that he had originally when he tore the shoulder, right?
It just keeps popping up. And Murphy was talking the other day, Bill, that the doctors have said, it's going to probably reoccur again and maybe again. And, he was throwing the ball on, he's throwing the ball in the low 90s, but was close to the upper 90s at one point. And it's just probably irritates, I'm no doctor, no shoulder doctor, but probably just irritates the shoulder and arm. And after a while of pitching, then it's probably going to be for the rest of his career one of those back and forth things if he is going to have a rest of his career. And the Brewers, obviously on the hook for the $22 million, they're going to manage it as best as they can. Now, they made a major move. The Brewers front office has done a lot of moves, and I talked about this on my podcast the other day. Brewers front office has been fantastic. They're in the position they're in because the Brewers front office. This was a misstep right here. This was a stutter step. They shouldn't have offered him the qualifying offer. They were hoping he was going to turn it down and get a multi-year deal. Nobody on the market wanted to give them a multi-year deal. They got stuck with a one-year, $22 million deal for a guy coming off shoulder surgery and didn't finish the year by being on the injured list.
Well, like I said, when he's good, he's good, and you can certainly appreciate where he's at. Let's do this. We'll move on to other things when we come back. Chuck Freimund hanging out with us from the Locked On Brewers podcast. Stay right where you're at. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. I know a lot of disappointed people last night out and about watching and hoping that the United States would win. Did not happen. But they had a big crowd out at the Social House last night on West Lisbon Road, Menominee Falls. A massive crowd in the parking lot last night on the big screen TV that they had posted out there. But it was a hell of a crowd, and they've renovated the place. It continues to get bigger and better. Check it out. Stop in and check it out. Brewers baseball. They still have the outside screens on the outside portion of the bar as well. Outside screens at the Social House. Inside screens keeping you nice and dry and cool also as well. West Lisbon Road, Menominee Falls. Don't forget about High Water Pub and Grill. That's on Venice Beach Road in Oconomowoc, right there in Upper Nebobbin Lake. And they have all that outdoor seating now out there right on the peninsula, right up against the lakeshore. Really, really nice stuff. Both places fantastic. Social House on West Lisbon Road, Menominee Falls, Brookfield. We'll be right back.
Ready. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
If I was to tell you that the top of the order, the first four in the order, were to have one hit, some of them were going to bat 5 times, but the top of the order was going to have one hit. I was to tell you we're going to make 3 defensive miscues. And I was also to tell you that they walked as much as we walked. Who would you take? Yeah. And so it's a testament to the guys in the bottom. Sal Frelick had a couple tough ABs and comes through with a huge double. And then Hammy with the big double. Yeah, and Terang with the big hit. 2 outs. Yeah, that's how you win a 1-run ball game.
They keep scrapping. That's what they do. The Milwaukee Brewers get themselves a win last night. Doubleheader coming up today. The Miz on the mound this afternoon. And if you're smoking a celebratory cigar from last night, you probably got it from the Nice Ash, or at least I know I did. Sitting out back last night for a little while and just relaxing. Warm weather. Good skies last night. Had the tube on. Nice Ash, the Nice Ash. Last night they had the poker. Today is Vinyl Tuesday. So don't forget, if you got an album going through the Wayback Machine, stop in and you can just put the album. They put the old turntable, the record player, out on the bar today, all day long, all leading up through out this evening. Just bring an album in and you can just play it. Just let the album play. So that's the Nice Ash Cigar Bar. Then on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, live music down there every Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, whether it's the Walk-In Humidor, 13 different flavors of hookahs, or just the fine bourbons and whiskeys, or just a good place to go chill and watch a game. That's theniceash.com. Theniceash.com, 323 West Main Street, downtown Waukesha. Joining us on the hotline, our guy Chuck Freimund from the Locked On Brewers podcast back here. So Woodruff down and Hamilton, we're waiting to find out the severity of the hammy sprain. But that being said, what are you going to do with Christian Yelich, Chuck? He is as bad gets right now. Holy mackerel. I haven't seen him be this bad.
Phil, that might be one of the reasons why they brought up Lara. Now, Yelich isn't playing the outfield anymore. He's DHing. But his batting average has dipped some 40 points since the beginning of June. Mm-hmm. It just plummets and plummets and plummets. And you can't count on him to get to do anything. The bat looks slow. He's the everyday DH, but I sense this in the Cubs series, right after the Cubs series, right during the Cubs series. He did not make a couple of starts against left-handed pitching. And I bookmarked that, and I said that on my show. I said, it's odd that Yelich is not starting against left-handers. Usually one of your top players, no matter who's pitching, lefty-righty, that guy's in the lineup. Right. But he has not started the last 2 times they faced lefties. And I don't know, maybe we're going to see more of that coming up, of him being a platoon player. The bat looks slow. I just feel like the confidence level you have in this guy right now is just low. He's coming off hitting 29 home runs last year. He's got 5 or 6 this year. The power numbers aren't just there. I think back early in the season, Bill, you remember against the White Sox, that 3rd game of the season, hit that 3-run pinch hit homer on the upper deck to right field. Yep. Well, that's been it.
Right. That's what I'm saying. There's nothing there, man. There's nothing to grab onto. It's not even the power numbers aren't even there.
No. I mean, you hit 29 last year, and you're not getting any of that. But they need that. They need some thump in this lineup, and they need that. And they're winning without it. But man, I mean, you look at this roster, Bill. They got 2 guys who are making over $20 million. Brandon Woodruff and Yelich. 2 guys making north of 20, and they're not getting anything from either guy.
Right. It's amazing. The Woodruff thing I get. The Yelich thing, I keep waiting. Grant said yesterday maybe he's got some kind of an injury we don't know about. But if he does, and they haven't set him to the side to say, hey, go get better, then shame on them. But I've never seen anybody just fall off the table like this, where they just are nothing. He's not even a guy you even fear anymore in the lineup. You know what I mean? He hit a couple of balls on the nose last night, and they always say, well, when you start hitting the ball on the nose, it just happens to be right at somebody. Eventually, those are going to start falling. So I'm kind of, knock on wood, hoping for that. But he's just when he strikes out, he looks lost. Like he's just either guessing or just flailing at the pitch.
Taking called third strikes.
Yeah.
When he's pulling the ball, I always look for if a hitter has got if his bat has not slowed down. Well, he's hitting the ball, a lefty with the ball to right field, a righty with the ball to left field. They'll pull the ball. And late in Robin Yount's career, if I can go way back there, I noticed that with Robin, you could just tell that as he was in his 30s, more and more times he was going opposite field. He was not. It was his 3,000th hit was in the right field, but there was a lot of that. He was not pulling the ball. He was not hitting home runs. He was not pulling the ball to left field. And I was kind of sensing that with Christian Yelich right now. And I tell you, he's just not pulling the ball. The bat looks a little slow through the hitting zone.
A couple of the bright spots is Jake Bauers is still getting the job done. Sal Frelick is still getting the job done. I got to give credit to Joey Ortiz. He's actually, brought his average up a little bit throughout the end of the month of June, coming into July. He's been better, and the glove is still fantastic. Cooper Pratt is another story because he was hot when he came up, and since then there hasn't been much to cheer about when it comes to Cooper Pratt, has there?
No, but he's here to stay unless he completely falls flat, Bill. The Brewers, when they bring up their top prospects, they're not bringing them up to platoon. They're not bringing them up to sit on the bench, or they do not want to send them back down unless they absolutely have to. They sent Bryce down a couple of years ago, but they want them to play every day. And just like calling up Lara, it's just a mystery to me because it's like, well, they call guys up to play every day. Where is he going to play? And from all indications, Laura has just got to St. Louis. He's in the dugout and he's in the stadium today. But the Brewers have several guys who are producing right now. They're producing. They're still not, Bill, hitting with runners in a scoring position. That was a struggle. It's the last two nights they've won these games. They've struggled through 6 innings, and then in the 7th inning have turned games around. They were down 1-0 on Sunday, and then last night they were down 3-0 to St. Louis, and it looked like they were on their way to a loss. And then they turned that game around quickly on a couple of RBI base hits, including the one by Bryce trying to put them ahead.
Yeah. Churio obviously is having a good, solid season. He's been tremendous since he came back, and 13 dingers already, and he's still hitting the hell out of the ball. Turang has been steady. He kind of took a dive for a while, but he's been pretty much steady. Contreras obviously is still well. Even Garrett Mitchell, who very quietly just struggled, and people were looking at him going, "Oh God, are we really going to have to put up with this all season?" He got his average back up to 269. He's actually played pretty well. So it's like they are getting some production. It just isn't consistent.
Yeah, Mitchell has been phenomenal here in the last week.
He's like over the last over the last month or something like that. He's like 330, if I'm not mistaken.
Just unbelievable. He had 4 hits last week. Really being a productive member of this team. Again, that's why I'm wondering where is Luis Lara going to play, because their outfielders are hit right now. Replacing Churio, not replacing Mitchell, not replacing Frelick. Where's he going to go? But you know what's odd? The Brewers have the second best record in Major League Baseball, but they will have one position player as of right now at the All-Star game, and that's William Contreras. One position player. Isn't that bizarre?
I know, right?
You would think a team that's got is 23 games over the 500 mark, 56 and 33. They'd have 3 or 4 guys there, but they have one guy going, and that's it. You can make it a strong argument for Turang, but one guy going to the All-Star game is a position player.
It's amazing because they, out of 30 major league teams, I still think they need a big bat, but out of 30 major league teams, they right now are 28th in all of Major League Baseball when it comes to hitting home runs. 28th. Yep. And it's not even by a little, it's by a lot. They're 28th. I mean, it's amazing they are where they are without having really any kind of a consistent power hitter on this team.
And one of the reasons why they're so low, Bill, is because of what we talked about with Christian Yelich. He's just not the power numbers. And can you win this way? I thought last year, Bill, when the Brewers didn't have the punch in their lineup, I thought, they're winning all these games. They won 97 games. They can get there. It's just tougher from point A to point B when you need 3 singles to score a run, or 2 singles. They have that 3-run blast once in a while. Last week they won a game, Bill, by scoring with 6 singles in the 3rd or 4th inning to produce 4 runs. 6 singles, including 5 in a row. Just little bleeders and all that. It's like, it's just the way they win games. Unfortunately, it's not been a recipe to win that when you need it most, and that's in the championship round in the postseason in the NLCS. And they've lost a few wild cards along the way. But Yeah, I agree with you. People talk about this team needs pitching. They need to go out and get their screwball. I still say third base, they need a guy at third base who can hit some home runs.
Yeah, it's so odd because they're 28th in homers and they're like 14th in OPS, but they're 6th best in batting average and they're 4th best in on-base percentage. So, I mean, they're taking their walks and they're getting on base. And when they do, they put pressure on defenses and defenses make errors. And that's what they do. That's how they kind of nickel and dime you to death. The problem is we know when you get to the postseason, that doesn't always work. You got to have somebody in that lineup that they fear. And I agree with you. I mean, to me, before the whole thing with Woodruff, I thought, okay, for sure, you got to look for a bat. I was thinking a bat. Because Woodruff was pitching well. And then now it's kind of like, well, now you may have to go find an arm to get you through. And I don't know if they're going to go find both an arm and a bat. You know what I mean?
Well, I think you need in the postseason, and I'm not assuming they're going to win the division, but I mean, we like to think that they're 23 over that. Unless they fall apart, they're going to the postseason, right? So you get to the postseason, I think you need 3 really strong arms. You got Mizorowski, you got everybody staying healthy. You got Mizorowski, you got Harrison, you got Henderson coming off the injured list. With Woodruff healthy, you had a big 3 there, and Henderson being the 4th guy. Do you get another starter to replace Shane Drone, who's pitched well in his last 2 starts? Sproat, who has not been good and was not good in his last start. If you're going to get pitching, you better get somebody who's better than what you got, because I think their starting pitching is pretty darn good, even without Woodruff. I just feel like it is. And when they get to the postseason, Bill, the Brewers have this way of just mixing and matching pitching. They'll start McGill in a game. They'll start Ashby in a game, and they'll be so creative with who pitches in their games. Because they don't have a solid 4 guys, but I think you have a solid 3, you'll be good. The pitching wasn't the problem against the Dodgers last year. It was they couldn't score any runs.
Yep, I completely agree. They went completely silent. And again, even with Yelich hitting 29 bombs last year, he was non-existent in the postseason, and there was nobody in that lineup that you really feared. I mean, I think the only guy right now that you fear would be Vaughn, but he's not putting up power numbers. You know what I mean? So it's not like you fear him. I mean,
yeah,
and Churio to a certain extent.
Churio, Terang. Terang's got a little bit of a pop, but you want to be able to have a guy in the middle of that lineup. Unfortunately, that's just not been the case the last couple of years. When they picked up Reese Hoskins a couple of years ago, they thought he was going to give him that bump and just couldn't stay healthy and wasn't all that good when he was here. Bowers is hitting, he's got 16 homers, I believe it is. Hit one the other night. He's got some thump. He's having a career year. But I don't know. I just don't see the Brewers going out and trading one of their top prospects to get guys like that. Instead of bringing their top prospects up, they brought Pratt up and now Luis Lara. They're doing what the Brewers do. Develop players, win while they're developing players. And that's a great situation to be in.
Which is great. But I think you just need that veteran bat that can come in that, now again, Freddie Freemans aren't sitting out there. You know what I mean? Those guys that can play the corners aren't just sitting there going, hey, I need a job. So that's the unfortunate thing about it. Chuck, where can they find you, my friend?
Bill, as always, Google, Spotify, Apple, wherever you download audio podcasts. We're the #1 Brewers podcast on the internet because the great Brewer fans out there. It's one of the fastest growing Locked On podcasts in the country on all the entire Locked On network. And that's because of the great Brewers fans and all that. And so you get us on the audio platforms and, of course, our growing YouTube page. Search Locked On Brewers on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. All the content is always free. And of course, if you subscribe to the YouTube page, you also get the 60-second instant reactions, the rapid reactions right after the game that I always do. As always, the content is free. And Bill, great to join you with 2 segments today, my friend.
I know. We blew it up. Then we'll have to do like an all-star special at some point, too. Chuck, always good to talk to you, pal. We'll talk to you next week.
You bet it.
There you go. Chuck Freimund joining us for a couple of minutes on the hotline. Yeah, a couple of segments on the hotline, which is always good to talk to Chuck. Hey, yesterday, it wasn't huge, but it was good. It was a great event. The networking event at Sobelman's Pub and Grill on St. Paul Avenue in Milwaukee. Had a great time. I actually had a burger while I was down there, which is pretty cool, too. And talked to a few people, met some business people in the area. But Sobelman's Pub and Grill, always doing something great. Turned into a watch party, like I told you at the beginning of the program today. Don't forget, they have the second location in Waukesha on William Street in Waukesha as well. Sobelman's Pub and Grill, home of that big old brioche burger and also that giant meal and a Bloody Mary. That's always good to get together at Sobelman's.
Meet at Sobelman's.
Milwaukee and Waukesha.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
It's a winning explosion at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. This July, Winplosion rockets in, bursting with $300,000 in cash and reward play. For your shot at winning, just play with your rewards card. Then join us for the Thursday night prize drawings. Plus, every Winplosion entry also counts toward the big WinFest Grand Finale in September. It's Winplosion. Big bang, big bucks. Only at Potawatomi. More info online. Must be 21 and a rewards member to play.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back, Bill Michaels Show. About time for us to get out of here. Always appreciate it when you hang out with us. Tomorrow, we'll talk about the doubleheader that is Brewers just getting underway in St. Louis. And hopefully the Brewers can get themselves at least a win. They're tied at 2 apiece right now, believe it or not. The Miz 2 1/3 with 2 earned runs, a couple of hits, and 5 strikeouts thus far on the afternoon. A little un-Miz-like performance going on right now. But nevertheless, the Brewers still tied 2 apiece, bottom of the third right now. And you're really trying to get through this because you just don't want to see the bullpen get chewed up in this one and then get chewed up in the next one as well right now. So Mizorowski, he's thrown 32 pitches through 2 1/3. So you're hoping that he can get out of this thing relatively quick and then move on and then kind of go from there. But nevertheless, by the way, Yelich gets up in doubles. Ortiz has a double as well. So the guys that are most likely not to succeed have Yelich with an RBI double, Ortiz with an RBI double. So both of those guys driving in runs early on in this one. So at least that's right now, Christian Yelich, for as much as we've discussed him, is 2 for 2 on the day. Maybe there's a little bit of a rejuvenation there or something going on. I don't know. But the Brewers tied at 2 apiece. They have the night game coming up. We'll talk about it all coming up tomorrow on the program. John Horst speaks tomorrow. Also, Tim Allen, the host of the Baseball Postgame Show, who could not join us today but is going to be here tomorrow. We'll talk with him tomorrow as well. Until then, it is time for us to get out of here. Hopefully you have a great day. We'll talk again